Oh, yeah. So we got here for... Oh, yeah, we're good here. Is this thing working? Put that down here. All right. Photograph your light and magic. Hi, Chris. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Thank you very much for asking. I tell you, Tada. Hey, Chris. Hey, how are you? Good to see you in there. Can you please talk about how us newbies can get started on Photoshop investigating these images? Yeah, it's pretty easy. You can actually download it. In fact, let me see if I can get the link here. You guys can check this stuff out yourselves. All you gotta do is you can get it from Midnight Plans, which is basically NASA as well. It's affiliated with it. You can just get it, and if you got Photoshop, put it in. And a lot of times people start off real slow. They'll say like, well, I'm not sure how to use it, but once they get used to it, they're like, oh my God, it's like so easy. It seems complicated at first, but there's a link to it right there. You can go to Midnight Planets, and it usually has the latest one. In other words, the latest photo. So you can just, you know what I mean? So it'll be the latest Sol or, Martian Day. So you can go on there and just check it out. Actually, man, what's going on, brother? I know. I just jumped in there too. I was like, man, it's getting late, man. I got to get this thing rocking. I had forgotten I had to turn into the other computer, and I was like, okay, let's get that thing fired up. This is the reason why I was well, yeah, I think I'm guilty. I think it was about a minute late. But let's see. I did, yeah, Tata. You do an amazing job, and I would like to learn. Oh, no doubt. I mean, like I said, I was fortunate to have a couple people how to show me around it, and people who have been either learned about Photoshop and all its intricate little things here and there, to, like I said, a buddy of mine was a lithographics expert. He told me how to look at the raw plating and stuff like that. You can see it a lot of times. I use that in my videos. You'll see me say, well, let's go to the raw plate, whether it's cyan, black plate, yellow, whatever. There's different plates. Most of them are in RGB, your red, green, and blue. So you can find that pretty easy stuff, and just kind of navigate around. And once you get used to it, I don't know how many people have told me, man, it was kind of rough when I first started off, but now I get it like boom. You know what I mean? So, yeah. James Smith, yes, I am good. Thanks for asking. Renee, hello, Chris, the man with the eagle eye. Oh, yeah. Thanks, James. I appreciate that about the last video. Yeah, some incredible things in there, man. It just, if you're that close to the moon, you can just see phenomenal things. I just had a guy suggest to me, he said, why don't you use a more top view from the LRO? But the problem is when you get down to like an angle, you can see these things actually standing up. Now, don't get me wrong, the way it's not completely angled like that there, but it doesn't matter because it's kind of like this going down to like just going down into an angle like that. I want to see more depth. This is the reason why I did it that way as opposed to just looking down. Because to me, I think you can see the height and the depth of these things, right? Ralph Franco, hey there, glad to see you, and thanks for the awesome work. Well, I appreciate you being here there, Ralph. What's going on, Lucky Mo? What's happening? Good to see you in there. It depends. You asked, thank you. Well, what are your strategy for Photoshop settings, your approach for your images? It depends on what it is. A lot of times, a lot of these moon photos, they're usually like whited out kind of thing. NASA will tell you that if you look at the Curiosity rovers, here's a good example. They have what they call Z stacking. In other words, they'll take a photo of the same exact area. They might do 4, 8. It doesn't matter. And what they'll do is they'll take the original and stack a couple of these other copies, although most of them are transparent. In other words, you have like maybe 90, 95% transparency, but it gives them the way to say, okay, now we'll drop this almost transparent copy on top and they can do anything they want to it, blur it out, do whatever they want. Then they take the photo over again or digitized out through a computer, and then they've got it completely blocked. They get all of these objects blocked, what they don't want you to see, right? Now, back in the day, they used acetate, which is basically just like a clear, like a copy type thing or a film over the top of the other photo, and they can just simply do the same thing. They could scribble out, marker out, do whatever they wanted to do back then. And I think even then they had a crude, I'm going to say Photoshop, but it wasn't Photoshop. A lot of times they said they were using GIMP at the time, which is more modern, of course. It's not back in the 60s. But I think they used that back then, their own crude Photoshop. And this is the reason why they were able to do and cover a lot of these things. And even a lot of the newer versions I find, because my good friend, hold on. Why is this thing on? Why is it coming in like this? I had the scanner. I was listening for the ISS earlier. Anyway, my good friend Ken Johnston, he had the second generation photos of the moon. And if you look at the more recent ones, or the third and fourth generation, they're completely whited out. It's wild when you see it. You go, how do they differ so badly? Why is there a difference in these? There shouldn't be any difference. It's just a photo, right? Nothing to see, right? Just mountains, dust, and whatever. But yet, they're different. So yeah. Yeah. What do you think about India sending a rover to the south pole of the moon? I think it's actually awesome that they're doing that. Congrats to the ISRO for doing that kind of work. And man, you guys seen that rocket? That thing was like, it was the bomb. Awesome. They're actually putting on the same thing they did back in the day, the Apollo missions. They're putting on these small laser reflectors. Only these things only weigh like an ounce, and they're like a disc. They're like a small disc, but they have like these little holes in them, and then lasers can hit these. And basically, by doing that, they can see how far the Earth is, or the moon is from the Earth, rather, right? So what they do is they send it there, and then they get like parts of that laser back. They don't get the whole beam back; it's just scattered. And when they get it back, then they can judge just how far the moon is. Right now, the moon is actually pulling away from the Earth about an inch per year. Figure that one out. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. So they're doing that. Plus, they're going to put a lander as well as another rover there. So it's going to be interesting. Now, somebody had asked me, and one of you guys had asked me in one of the videos, said, "Hey, what's the chances of them guys showing the real photos?" Well, if it's anything like the Chang 4, there's your answer. Not very good. Jose Molina, do you ever plan to form a research group for these investigations you conduct? That way you can disseminate the findings to a greater audience. I have done in the past. We had a couple of our friends were on there that were doing the same stuff I'm doing. And like I said, my buddy Pete, like I said, at first, you know what I mean? When you first see these things, you can't get your head wrapped around it, but you go, there's no way these things are there, whether it's on the moon or Mars, right? But then when my buddy Pete had showed me, like I said, these raw plating, and you get into the raw parts of the photo, it's wild because it kind of confirmed what I've been seeing, right? I said, okay, I would ask him, okay, so what would be the best way to pull these photos apart, right? And he said, well, first of all, you're looking at RGB. What you want to do is you want to look at the raw plating, which means, like I said, cyan, black plate, so on and so forth, yellow plating. And once you do that, you can use different filters, and it brings out these anomalies much better. And that's the whole key. By RGB, you're seeing all the colors. Well, not all, but the RGB, which is your normal RGB, red, green, and blue. And it'll fool the eyes. You don't want that. You want black and white, and you want to be able to find the lines in the photo. And that's what you can bring out, right? So it depends on the photo, what you use in Photoshop as well. Again, it's all about experimenting and finding it and honing your skills, so to speak. And once you find that, boom, you know what I mean? It gets pretty easy. In fact, it gets so easy that you can look at a photo and actually see the manipulation without even putting it into Photoshop. The only reason why I put it into Photoshop is to break the photo down and find these things and pull them out. But I can literally just look. You can see the way they manipulate the photos by digitizing certain areas out, spot blurring. The list goes on and on. They clone parts of it. You guys have showed me, even you guys have seen it, said, look, they actually clone one area. They took one area. They can use you can use a lasso tool, which you just basically take an area and drop her over a set of rocks, make them disappear. I mean, there's so many things that they do to these photos. It's crazy. Pretty cool stuff. Hey, Val, good evening to you. Good to see you in there. You and me both, Hatchet Man. Extremely excited to see this drone. I'm kind of curious how much we're going to see of that. You know what I mean? We're going to see any live video? We're going to just see photos? What are we going to see? I'd be curious to see that too. You're right. They actually do. I noticed that you said I noticed that the NASA LRO Chang'e and the Chang. Well, it's actually the Chandrayaan, I think it's called. Images all like the same software was used. They're all edited in the same. They are, and in fact, they're just like NASA's. Look at the way they did when they had. In fact, I did a video on the Chang'e 4. Look at the way they blurred all that out, and then look at the moon photos from the Apollo missions. Anything in the background they wanted to disguise or take out. Look at the similarities. Pretty funny and pretty sad too at the same time. Jack Ball TV, what's up? What's going on? Good to see you in there. Let's see. Neil Homer, happy Sunday, Chris. Well, happy Sunday to you. I hope everything's going good for you guys. Well, we got them all already jumping in there, the trolls. I'm not surprised, guys. Good, but show you a bit by a bit. Very good early work and now fabulous. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, Nacho Libre. I don't know what's up with that. Some people are saying they're not getting the notifications, and if you already hit the bell once you subscribe, you should be able to see. You should get the notification. But not only, I've seen where they had videos. In fact, the YouTube has made them saying that a lot of times you will not. I don't know if it's a glitch in there or whatever it is, but notifications. This is the reason why I just check back, especially the channels. And I know how you guys feel because there's a couple of channels I follow. And I'll be damned. I didn't see this. So I just check back like every day, every other day, depending on, you can actually almost see the pattern that they do, right? In other words, it might be 2, 3, 4, 5 videos a week, so on and so forth. So you just have to, go by that way, I guess. Phil Cox and daughters, Jessica and Kelsey Brown. What's going on? Good to see you in there. He's saying hi, Nacho. Nacho saying hi, all. Nate Dog 73. Good day. Cobra from Australia. You're right about that. Source Kite, I think you called yourself. I think NASA outsources their image processing, and anything can happen, including NWO censorship. Well, I believe that. I mean, first of all, they were supposed to be JPL is actually supposed to be doing these, enhancements. They call them, but they're the ones that's doing this Photoshop work, right? And in fact, it's a fact. People are like, oh, how do you know they got Photoshop? Well, they laid off like 250 Photoshop people in that area. So how many people do they actually have there? That's what's crazy, right? So yeah, I'm not surprised in the least bit. I'm going, man, laid off 250. How many people they got in this darn thing, right? Pretty sweet. But it's crazy at the same time. You're thinking, okay, so are they actually taking these photos and pass them along this line, right? In other words, let's say the guy goes, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this anomaly out. Then pass it to the next guy. Can you see it? No. Okay, next. And then have like a bunch of eyes looking at it. And of course, they probably have their own way of, passing it down. One guy does the foreground, one guy does it. Who knows, right? It's hard to tell. Let's see. American Rebel, what's going on there? Good to see you in there, brother. Hello from Florida. Angel Mist. Good to see you in there. According to a drone today, I've seen Bruce's second last video of a bird clearly flapping his wings. I didn't see that one, but John Devon, just saw your 1984 video of the way you used the burn tool. Yeah, it's kind of a 1984 video. I don't know if I had one out back then, but I actually used to show how you can burn it real lightly, and it depends on how much you want to burn and how much, depending on the darkness of the photo. You don't want to go super crazy because you'll literally burn the photo right out. You just don't want to do that. It's all about just bringing out the subtle lines and stuff like that, because anybody could drop a certain color or a blur, but sometimes they don't take out the lines, and that's what's behind the manipulation you want to try to drag out, right? I believe they do. Music by Mr. E1. Do the agencies collaborate on cover-ups? It only takes one of them to confirm all the anomalies you help reveal. That's true. Why is this thing shutting off? Hold on. It usually doesn't do that if I'm live. Well, maybe that's why. Hold on. All right. computer just went to sleep. Well, not the monitor went off, and I'm saying, what the hell happened there? But for some reason, it wasn't showing the live; it was just showing like a play. So I just had to hit the live so it would stay on. Anyway, so um, if you have to envision like these agencies being like at a round table, right? So in other words, they're all above what's going on below. So in other words, anything like a lot of the other governments either they can't touch them or whatever, like they're the elites, and they all get together and they just say, hey, what did you find? If you notice, a lot of just about all of these companies, whether it be China, India, NASA, JPL, of course, is part, so on and so forth, they're all working together, and they literally have. Trying to remember where it was at the Kennedy Space Center. If you go down there, they have all the flags of all the countries that are involved. So they're all working together in a sense. And I love the idea that they're doing that. Don't get me wrong, because united, you can power. You get the power to put things out into space and do these space missions and stuff like that, right? But on the other side of the token, if they're finding these things and they're not showing anybody, including their country's people, so on and so forth. So yeah, not good. Let me see. This thing just jumped way up on me, guys. So forgive me. I'm just going to try to. I don't want to leave anybody out. I want to let you guys. Um, Peter's vlogs are like that. Nachos is making me hungry. No doubt. Oh man, this thing jumped way up on me here. Peter's vlogs, no doubt. Men in Black, watch your videos. Well, I don't know how much you can do about it. I mean, other than just like, well, I think a lot of times they'll just let these videos go. I'm sure there's a multiple of reasons. They'll just say it's kind of like when you see these top-notch whistleblowers, right? They come out and they say, well, this is what happened. They're probably just sitting back going, watch, all of these guys are going to, they're just going to laugh at him. So we don't have to do anything to him, right? Or they're just using a slow disclosure. And it's not just me because, there's other channels that are doing the same work I am. So it's nothing special. But when you get all of them together, they're just probably sitting back going, just let the stuff go out, little bits and pieces, and we'll go from there. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they would even do or touch anybody who's doing this kind of work. It's kind of like whatever. They just let little things slide out, and that's the end of it. Oh, misheard you didn't get it either, huh? The notifications. Like I said, I mean, you guys, like I said, the track record. I'm usually here at 7:00, Sunday. So boom, just, obviously just tune in. It's just much easier, right? And a lot of times, like I said, I was trying to get another video out this week. And like I said, I've been trying to get everything ramped back up again where I was at, and I have. So now I got one coming out of 67p. Guys going to find these couple little anomalies on this comet. Really weird. I mean, and it's right there. I've got like 3 different photos of the same exact photo. One of them is kind of weird. It's kind of like a slightly different angle. Although you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just crazy how it looks. But it's cool at the same time. I can do that, yeah. Nacho Libre, yeah. So basically saying it's a notification of upcoming shows. Is it possible for you to make your channel say live stream that date at this clock? Like some channel, I can do that. So maybe it'll help you guys if you even get that notification, right? So, but we'll definitely we can still do that too, no doubt. Kelsey Brown, hello from Florida. Okay. Let me jump way down here. George Mayer. Hey, Chris from Aberdeen, Scotland. What's going on? Good to have you in there, George. Long hours, small crew. Yeah, got that right. Got a doc about the rover cans. 12 for one rover. You elaborate a little bit more on that, John Devon? Doom Punk, what's up there, brother? Good to see you in there. Good afternoon, everyone, he says. Oh, okay. So it was a 2014 one. Okay. John Devon. Okay. Because I was kind of like confused. I'm like, 2000, hell, I wasn't doing this in 84. But yeah, I mean, that's when I was doing that. I was just starting out basically. But yeah, I mean, I was starting to use that to show it. But I decided to shorten them so this way here it wouldn't be too long. In other words, I'm doing it and then say, okay, this is what I found, so on and so forth. It was just easier just to get right, do all the things and then to show people what I've got in the videos. I just found it easier. That's all. You're right about that. Where'd you go? Did you jump up again on me? Hate it when that happens. Dreamosaurus, Ontario, Canada loves yous. Well, we love you guys too, man. Good to see our neighbors in there jumping right in. Jay got Ma. Hi, Chris. Hope you're well, man. I have a few photos here from Google Mars of a couple of structures I found. What's the best way to get these to you? You could go Mars Anomalies at AOL.com. You can drop them right in there if you want to. Just make sure you make it in the subject saying either your name or Mars photos, whatever, Miss Heard, I thumbed up. Well, I appreciate that. Everybody hit that thumbs up button. Yeah, man, I don't know if I did, but I was here 10 minutes early. I like that. It's punctual. Photography, I agree. Sometimes you can see the anomalies without doing anything. Yeah, absolutely, Dennis. Like I said, for some reason, sometimes you could just look at it. If you're a photographer, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If I was to show you a manipulated photo, something I might have done, and in fact, the guy did this to me. I don't remember what video it was, but he says, "Hey, can you see where I've modified this photo?" Straight up did a straight test to me. I said, "Okay." So I looked at it, put it through a couple of these plates, and I saw it almost immediately. I said, "Right here and right here." He said, "Yep, you're the real deal. You found it." So he literally hid these things on me in this one photo, picked it out just like that. He goes, "You're the real deal. You found it." He said, "I didn't think you'd find it." He says, "What do you say? Your the way I did it works." That's what he said. He says, "Oh yeah, no doubt." Caesar V, hello from Romania. Good to see you in there, man. You just got yours 10 minutes ago, Dreamosaurus. Really? Man, that's crazy. Yeah, John Devon. Yeah, your vid is Curiosity Driving Through Cities. Good learning video and eye opener. I believe that they are. I actually believe, just by what we're seeing in the photos now, they are absolutely going through an ancient civilization or completely decimated cities, and they're literally going through these things. Have you noticed the wheels on this Curiosity rover, right? Now, it didn't happen to the Opportunity, nor did it happen to, well, actually it did. It punctured through at one point or got stuck in it. It didn't puncture the wheel on the Opportunity, but it did actually get jammed in the wheel itself sideways. But neither the Spirit or the Opportunity rovers, which were smaller, had a different wheel design. None of the wheels were poked, meaning going through a hole, nothing like that. But yet the Curiosity has. Now, it was very thin. I think it was like 60 thousandths and aluminum wheels. They were only 60 thousandths thick. And that's pretty, that's actually pretty thin. Now, don't get me wrong. The actual ribs or the actual treads were thicker, right? But the actual hub itself, the wheel itself, was actually pretty thin. And there's actually tears in it. It's not dense. It's literally like things jammed right through the darn wheel. And you can see it, the wheel's literally ripped up. What the? I get like holes, dents, and stuff like that. Makes sense because you're literally riding over things. This is what you got to try to picture too. You guys know simple math? You got a rover that weighs about a ton. So it's what? Just shy of 2,000 pounds. Now you take into the consideration the Martian gravity. Okay. Now divide that times 6. Right? The rover doesn't weigh 2 tons. And even if it did on Mars, divide that by 6. Each wheel doesn't have a ton of a weight on it. It's divided into 6 parts, right? Or, weight is distributed to 6 wheels. So now, lessen the gravity. Why are these things being punctured the way they are? Unless there's actually more gravity than they're saying, or they're literally running over things that are literally, putting holes in these wheels. It's not just rocks, right? Literally you can see rips literally ripping the aluminum, right up. That's crazy. Mike, Zaniga. Okay. I had to rewrite this. Sup, Chris? I remember you saying something about a picture of something on the moon when you did that thing with Bruce. Ever do your magic in it? Can we see it? Yes, I have. I did, but I won't because it's not my work. Um, and like I said, that was the time. Like I said, I've got not two videos. I'm sorry, two photos that I had done, and was hoping to collaborate with Bruce. And you guys know the story of that. Never worked out, and that's fine. So, like I said, just back burner. I won't do somebody else's work. I'm not going to do that. So it basically just lays dormant. Like I said, if I find it in another photo, like an actual moon photo from NASA, JPL, or ESA, it doesn't matter, then I would probably do it. Other than that, no. Oh, you were. Man, I just looked and you were notified 1 minute after the hour. Huh. Queens of Drone Age, Chris, don't you think it is a little odd about Elon's Tesla car launch? We have no more footage. Is that because the batteries did not last long? One would think it would be broadcast on way to Mars. Yeah, you would think so, but because whether it's being, you got to understand too. It's like during the Apollo missions. Let me just get to this. During the Apollo missions, the capsule would turn. Okay, and the reason for this is because they didn't want it to heat up in one area. So what they would do is just have this thing purposely rotate so the heat would be distributed evenly. So it's either going to be very cold on one side of an object or very hot. So unless this thing's rotating too, it's hard to tell what happened to that thing, right? The batteries could have simply just been done, and that's pretty much it. So it's basically just publicity stunt, if you will. But the thing is, he did get it out there, right? Now, yeah, we never did hear a thing about it. It would have been interesting to hear more. Uh, let's see. Yes, I remember. Yes, I heard you put on the yes. I remembered you come on at 6 p.m. Central my time. I was responding to a new replies on my YouTube video I uploaded last night. I bet you'll like it. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. Guys, it's still going on. It's still the trash talk. He's got a little bit more subtle about it now, but you know what I mean. It's just like it's just sad that in this time we're still going at it. I've actually pretty much dropped it. If you guys notice, if you go back to my Sunday, I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, but on my last Sunday's live stream, I actually it was about 1:30. I actually got rid of my video response to Bruce. I actually got rid of it because, like I said in my live stream, even though I brought him back up, it's just because of he was bashing somebody else. But as far as my words to him, I pretty much said what I had to say, so I got rid of the video. I think it's just done. But I watched one of his videos today, one of his live streams. He's still trashing. And it's sad. But what I find really astounding is that he's mentioned three people misheard. Who else was it? Eric Widd, as well as Frank Centurion, I think it is. It's funny how he does this. It's cool. It's not cool, but it's just weird how he does this. It's almost like, hey, let me just do this. What I'll do is I'll mention their names, and then everybody on my channel or whoever wants to can go trash them on their channels. So he just sits back and gives it one of these. Slick. It's pretty slick. So this way here, he doesn't get, any bad strikes. He doesn't get any, think about this a minute. He doesn't get any bad strikes because he's not the one actually doing it. It's other people doing the work for him, right? Yeah. And, he's trashing my work, saying, I'm outlining things. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to. You know why? Because it helps the actual viewer see what I'm trying to convey. Unlike you, where you put like a bunch of white all over a screen and say, oh, look, these are structures. You're not pointing out anything. There's nothing there to see. And I'm sure in heck I'm not going to do compression artifacts in my videos. So, that's the way I look at it. It's just crazy. Like I said, I mean, he just continues to trash. It's kind of like, let it go already. You're the one who keeps saying you want to let it go, but you don't. But like I said, guys, I don't care anymore. It is what it is. He's going to continue, so it don't matter to me. You get to the point where you just go, it's just childish. And, for him to still be trashing people, I think what the biggest thing that, I don't think it really pissed me off. I think what it was is it's what he said was, I can try to remember his exact words. He said, and I quote, Chris is using my own words against me. I'm going, okay, I'm using her. let me understand this. So you're saying your words came out of your mouth, so you shouldn't have to answer to them? Is that what you're saying? Come on now. Listen, here's the thing. You ever heard of this saying, don't start shit, won't be shit? That's the real deal right there. So if the only thing he's probably pissed off about is that I actually outed him. I actually said, listen, he basically used me to get more subs. And I outed him, and he hardly got rid of the comment, and I showed everybody the comment, and this is the reason why he's all pissed off. It has nothing to do with jealousy and all this other crap. I mean, he could think that way. In fact, I don't know if you guys seen it, but that video that he has about me, he changed the title to it. It used to say, and I wrote it down just to make sure, because I had it in my video, so that's how I remember. Jealousy is a sin, and so is lying host Chris Maroney, Mars Anomalies. Now he's changed it to Chris Maroney, Mars Anomalies, is trying to sabotage my channel. In what form, Bruce? I'm not doing it. You're sabotaging yourself. You're doing it to yourself. It's, like I said, when you say something, you have to own up to it. That's all there is to it. It doesn't get any easier. If I made the mistake and I did it to somebody, I'd say, yeah, I'd man up and say, listen, guy, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that happened, so on and so forth. My bad. And just get it over with. Be a man about it. But no, he chose to try to hype and duck and run and all this other stuff. And come on, it's just childish, So that's why I just go, I'm pretty much done with it. So we just move on to other topics, roll on. It's like a speed bump. I'm over it, and he's behind me. That's just the way it is. Say hey to Indonesia. What's happening? What's going on there? Thank you, Miss Hurt. Appreciate that. Really great work. You do know that I have subbed and watching your past productions. Yeah, I have, and I've actually commented or thumbed up, and which I try to do. You guys will see, like I put the little heart next to it, so that means I did actually read your stuff. And what I'll do is sometimes I'll take your questions and I'll bring them here to the actual, I call it the Hangout or live stream. So I like to do that for you guys. So if I don't answer right there, sometimes what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to start taking a lot more of your questions. And if I don't answer them right then and there, because there's tons of them, guys, you know that, what I'll do is I will bring them here on the live stream and I'll answer them that way if that's okay with you guys, if you want to do that, right? Okay. Let's see. Let's see. The collaboration could have been good, but guy is paranoid fool. Well, like I said, for whatever reason, that's just his bag. That's the way I look at it. Move on. That's pretty much the way it goes. Now, like I said, guys, I would never condone anybody going after and attacking his channel. However, if you're being attacked, you have every right to protect yourself, right? And if that's what it takes, reporting them or whatever you got to do, then that's up to you guys. You know what I mean? I don't care. I just go about my business and do my thing. And, but like I said, you guys have the right to protect yourselves in any way, shape, or form. So do what you got to do. I'm not saying it. I don't condone going to his channel and trashing him. I've had his trolls. In fact, I just had one of them, and gray boat. I don't know. He's trying to go underneath every single, comment that you guys have left. He's trying to, leave these comments in there. Oh, yeah, he's bull and all this other crap, whatever. So, I get the same attacks, but he won't tell you that though, right? And he sure in heck won't tell you, like I already outed him about him wanting to get together with the other guy, Igor, whatever his name is, to basically hack my channel. But no, he won't tell you that part. Shh. Only that he's being attacked. Anyway, moving on. Forget about he's yesterday's news. Absolutely, Jose, you absolutely are correct. Let's see. Let's get back to Mars. You are correct, Hatchet Man. You know what, guys? Speaking of which, I can't wait until the 2020 rover gets up there. It's going to have a couple of different instruments. It's going to be able to take samples of the soil. It's going to put it underneath the belly of this. I think I even told you this, guys, before. It's going to put it under the underbelly, and it's going to put them in little tubes. And this is what's crazy. It's going to analyze the soil first, right? Then it's going to put it into tubes. Then it's going to take the tubes and drop them on the surface. And I'm saying, why in the hell would they do that? The reason for that, according to NASA, is that once man does get there, they're going to actually analyze these soil samples. I'm going, wait a minute. If you're going there, why would you need to, check out old samples? Wouldn't they be A, buried from the wind, and A, like I said, be buried from the wind, B, wouldn't the radiation, depending on where the rovers are at, isn't that going to like spoil the soil sample? I don't know. You guys tell me. To me, I don't think that makes any sense. To put them in little tiny tubes, and I don't know. I don't get that, but whatever. Bush Beans, hello, Chris. Oh, hello, Mars and Almonds Beyond. My brother is a fan of your channel and is wondering if you guys could pass him a shout out. His name is Nick Gurr. Thanks. What's going on, guys? Good to see you guys in there. Ted, is that you? I enjoy the vids of the moon and other moons. Yeah, Rapture Ready. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think it's because, like I said, I think everybody's fascinated because it's actually the nearest body to Earth. And yeah, I mean, it's got so much mystery to it because, like I think it's supposed to be what, a 500,000 to 1,000,000 years older than Earth. That means somehow it got here before, or was here long before Earth. Does that make sense? No. In fact, I'm trying to remember if I have this. Let me see if I can find this. Oh yeah, planetary.org. If you read it, there's basically a origin of the moon as per giant impact hypothesis, or the GIH, that's what they call it, simple model. And they're basically saying that, let me see if I can see what it was called again. A Mars-sized planet named Theia, Theia, collided with early Earth. The impact ejected a huge amount of material, while some of the material escaped into space. The rest of it stayed in orbit and collided to form the moon. Here's a simple diagram. Of course, they give you an illustration. I'll give you guys that there. So that's their idea of what they think happened. I don't think that's the case at all. If in fact the moon's older, it makes no sense, right? The way they're saying is that the moon formed after Earth. Okay, so there's the actual link to it right there. I just dropped. Michael Hart, hey Chris, good to see you. Keep going. Oh yeah, we're gonna keep on going, like the Energizer Buddy, my friend. Oh yeah. Kenners, hey Chris. Hey man, love your work. Thank you very much. Have you seen Jimmy Roberts' one stuff? What's your thoughts? He does great work. And I like it because, like I said, he tells it like it is, and he's seeing a lot of stuff that a lot of people like myself are seeing in these photos, and he's bringing them out, and he's just saying it point blank. There's no way this stuff is natural. It is absolutely man-made or intelligently made, because we don't know if it was man that made it, right? Or if it was us way back in the day, and now we're going back to see the destruction. Maybe we're living on both planets at the same time at one point, right? Or we were there, seeing this incoming catastrophic event and moved to here. There's all kinds of theories and hypotheses, but do we know for sure? Maybe they do, but we don't. I don't know. Randy Roberts, I'm sorry. Sorry, more work on Ganymede, or however it's spelled. I don't know. I mean, there's only, like I said, there's only so many photos of Ganymede, so it's kind of hard to really, you know what I mean, do more and more of these, videos or enhancements. The one I did was actually pretty good. I could see the depth and everything else once you enhance it. It's not just, completely completely flat like you would think. I mean, of course, there's mountains and, valleys and stuff like that, but you can actually see the stuff a whole lot better and see a lot more depth. And it was just that one little piece that I saw coming down. It looked like it was coming from one area, coming down into the lower area of that moon. And that's what got me to go after this thing like a pit bull, and then really enhance it. And it, like I said, it's probably one of the best enhancements I've done. Let's see. I wish we had more photos of Venus and Mercury. You and me both, man, because I'll tell you what, a lot of these photos, if you've seen them, like I think it was Mercury, I mean, you got a lot of red going on. You can see it's like basically an artist rendition as opposed to more of an actual photo. And, let's say it is the actual topography of Venus or, Mercury or whatever. The thing is, a lot of times it's like there's something overlaid over the top, or they just kind of basically CGI over it. So it hides anything of any real value. And that's what sucks. I really do wish it was, a lot better detail, a lot better photos. But what we can do is take what they give us, right? Let's see. Mary Golds, you're a decent guy, very considerate of your peers. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it, Mary. I do. Let's see. Whoop, this thing just jumped up again. Man, you guys are all over this. American Evil. American Rebel, rather. I'm sorry. Hold on. There we go. American Rebel. Not that I can see. I don't think he insulted anyone here. That's another thing. If you ever watch on his channel, you can see people actually walking on eggshells. When they comment, oh, no, I didn't say anything about you. Oh my God. It's like they're walking on eggshells. There's no need for that. It's everybody's got freedom of speech. They can all talk to each other, throw ideas around. That's what these are all about. That's what I enjoy about doing these. Everybody talks amongst themselves. They're passing on links. I'm sharing the links with you guys. And that's what it's all about. It's a community. And that's what it should be about. Sorry, don't believe that it's not what we're told. The moon is the best way to show truth to people is showing them moonshots that prove ship moving all over the moon. Yeah, I mean, if that's in fact what they are, right? If it is, awesome. If it isn't, well, then you kind of you got to shy away from kind of videos like that, right? So as far as I'm concerned, if you find the real deal, then that's cool. That's awesome. That's the way it should be, right? Tommy Hollingsworth, hello. Really enjoying your channel. Well, I appreciate that, Tom. I really do. Shep, here's Rockstar. Zappa 750. Hey, what's going on? They're doing too much proof. Now the moon is more than a rock in space. Yeah, I think it's always been. And people have always been fascinated and always wanted to literally go up there over and over and over. And now they want to do it again. Now, here we go again with India. Now they're up there going to the South Pole. What are they looking for? You know what I mean? Yeah. I misheard you said, yeah, the NASA commercial has the female astronaut also saying, and this time we are to stay. Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's what it's saying. I mean, it just makes you wonder, you know what I mean? Have they already been there? Are they already there? Already got themselves their own established base and so on and so forth. A lot of people believe the Nazis already have, and this goes back to what, the 50s. It really isn't complicated if you think about it. Look at it's simple technology and engineering when they went to the moon with the Apollo missions, because, most people are like, well, no, you don't understand. Look at the trash can they went up there with. Well, here's the thing. They had their atmospheric conditions and everything else inside their suits, right? They were only in this small area of that capsule. The rest of it didn't need to be insulated. It was just basically put together, simple materials. And on the side of it was built in, they had the lunar buggy. So, if you think it was really simplistic, but yet high tech, if that makes sense. In other words, they put a lot of brains together to get this thing up there, and yet it was simplistic in its finest. People are like, well, they didn't have the technology. They didn't need it. Like I said, a lot of these switches were on either toggle or momentary switches for yaw and roll. It was pretty simplistic. And then the astronauts would, first of all, they were supposed to go into a certain area, like in Apollo 11, right? They're supposed to land in a certain area. They did not. They overshot it by, I think, a mile. I forget what it was. But so the astronaut took their best guess, and they landed in a spot where they knew it was going to be safe, and there they go, right? So that's what it's all about, even if the thing everybody thinks it was cheap the way it was made, it's not the point. It's the way you got to watch some of the videos that are on YouTube, and I'm talking about the real ones. How they had, in fact, I think there was like 5 or 6 different companies that were chomping at the bite to build a buggy. And if you look at the thing, it's, oh my God, it's like 2 lawn chairs, an aluminum frame, and 4 electric motors on it. And of course, the camera and little things like that, batteries under the seat and stuff like that. It was pretty simplistic, but yet it did the job very well. So, that's what it's all about. Dennis, absolutely. You just need a little bit thicker skin. Absolutely. Rachel Innocent, bye. Have a good week. Okay. Good to see you in there. See you, Rachel. That's what Nacho was saying. Eddie the Eagle. Hey, he's landed. Movie Stargate is exactly the way it went down. Yeah, I believe you're right. It's actually a good movie. Stan Bradley, you did not do the background on the Titan. Oh, you're talking about the photo I did, right? The last one of Titan. Yeah, I mean, the problem with that is because it's more of a distance away, you may not get the details that you'd like to get. And a lot of times, because you're seeing, if it's a manipulation, then you're just going to bring out the manipulation. You're not going to bring anything else out of it because, again, the further you go back in the picture, the less details you have, right? So it's almost like doesn't make any sense to do it, you know? Dreamosaurus, yes, love the way you show us things on Mars. It's more than they're saying there too. Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I said, just the one of the recent ones I did of Mars. I mean, just the stuff that's in there. Come on, you know that stuff's not. It's not natural. It's not a natural rock. Just the stuff we're seeing in there, right? Exactly, Renee. Yep. That's no moon. It's a space station. Yeah, you would think I've been asked this question a lot, Randy. Is it possible for hackers to hack into Mars Recon Orbiter? That would be interesting. They actually did actually hack into NASA, believe it or not, and they've gotten what they claimed it was only like a 500 meg bit of information, right? They took one of those Raspberry Pi small little pocket computers, and they were able to go into one of their servers and download a little bit of information. Now, was it key information, and all they need was 500 megs of information? That's all. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they grabbed off of it. Now, although NASA says it was really nothing of any value, but they're all investigating it, because they want to know who basically broke into the mainframe or got into one of their servers, right? So, yeah, they definitely want to know what's up. But I'd be curious to see what that guy or person grabbed off of that. But yeah, they're not going to. As far as the actual information coming back from the orbiters and stuff like that, like the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, things like that. That thing's probably so well encrypted you wouldn't be able to get the information off of it. However, like I said, this person did it right there at NASA. So was it an inside job? Is it somehow they got into it and they knew exactly where to find it? Could be, right? That's probably what they're thinking. Jose Molina, Chris, when did this all begin for you? This interest in Mars and what we haven't been told. Well, I'll tell you what. Like I said, I've been always interested in it. I've always been interested in moon photos, Mars, and like a lot of anything space because that's the way I am. Being a space nerd, right? And like I said, it wasn't until one day I saw my buddy Will from What's Up in the Sky 37 actually doing one of his videos, and I'm watching this thing. I'm saying, wow, he's showing some spectacular things in here. But I saw the lines. I saw what looked like outlines of look like weird anomalies behind this manipulation. I said, what is that? So he always leaves the links like I do in my photos so people can grab them. And so I checked out the link from NASA, checked it out, and looked at it. I said, oh my God, look at this shit. It's literally, you can bring this stuff out. It's shapes of whatever these things are, right? So I started doing that. And that's when I really took off, started doing these videos and stuff to show everybody else. I was just so intrigued by it and excited I just wanted to make a channel of my own. So I did. Uh, I think they're testing extreme climate clothing and living conditions. Absolutely. If you're talking about for like Mars, is that what you're saying, Hedger Man? Because they have to do that because of extreme temperatures. But if you're talking about Mars, then extreme temperatures, even on the moon, because it's the same way, it heats up during the day and cools off big time during the night. So, yeah, I mean, they have to have something that, if they're going to go out, obviously, when there's no sun shining, depending on, if it's the moon, even Mars, it gets really cold. I think it's like, I forget what it was. It's like 250 degrees below zero Fahrenheit or 240. I forget what it was. Even if it was 150, that's still extremely cold. And it might be right around there, to be truthful. So, they have to take into consideration both, this pendulum swing, so to speak, in temperature, because it gets anywhere between like 100 degrees Fahrenheit on Mars to 150 below zero, whatever it may be, 100 below zero. So, yeah, but if they know it's going to get cold, it's like yourself. If you live in the most harshest, if you live in the Ukraine or someplace like that where it gets extremely cold in some of these areas, you're not going to be hanging outside if you don't have to, right? You'll be inside just like, oh, okay, well, that nasty weather's coming. So, yeah, I think they'll definitely be doing that. Yeah, we do, Philip. Weathington, yeah. Do we still have a satellite orbiting the moon? Yes. The LRO is still there, still orbiting. Um, so that's still there. And I'm sure they're going to have more. And I'm almost positive they get more than one, but they're not really saying it. But I can almost bet that they are. And but they will. They'll have more and more. Now they got, like I said, India's going up there. They're going to have their own orbiter as well as a lander and rover. That'll be, well, at least the rover and lander will be at the South Pole, and of course the orbiter will be around. Um, you know, obviously orbiting the moon itself. Renee, Chris, best here on YouTube. Well, I try. Yeah, Mick Gust. Yeah, yeah, he's an idiot. A person can't comment on his work. He gets pissy, but can't help it because he's delusional. Works fall from his mouth like shit. So I let him have it. Too bad he's an arse. And you know what? Like I said, I mean, to me, that's his bag. That's the way I look at it. Um, let's see. Well, it may very well be, Rachel. Mars was colonized in the past by humans. It was the first Earth millions of years ago before humans moved to planet Earth. And I believe that's a really good possibility, or the theory of panspermia, where basically any kind of microbial, even microbial life on Mars started once it got hit, whatever catastrophe hit the planet. It literally, of course, you get ejected coming off the planet into space, and of course, it'll make its way to other planets, and it started life here on Earth. So you basically have the same kind of, if that did happen, you'll have the same, if it was microbes from Mars, you'll have the same thing living here, right? In other words, a lot of stuff would be almost pretty identical. I mean, as far as trees, maybe animals, so on and so forth, even at a microbial size, right? We don't know. But I think you're right. I think we started from Mars, made our way to Earth, and at some point, it might have been life on both. Who knows? We might have been going back and forth at one time, and then all of a sudden, Mars had its catastrophic event, and of course, it's no more. But was going back there to either, pick up the pieces or get ready for going back to our home planet, right? It's all speculation, but that's a very good, strong possibility, right? Starseed, how are you, Chris? I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Um, Robert Wallace, what do you think about Corey Good? I'm not really sure who that is. Let me know if you can elaborate more on that. I'm not sure. Kind of sounds familiar, but I'm not really sure. Donna, both. It's a shame your hangouts are so late. Saying hi from Bonnie, Scotland. Yeah, what time is it over there now, Donna? What time is it? Because I'm thinking, okay. Well, you're probably at least 6 hours ahead. Is that correct? Because I'm almost just about 8 o'clock here, p.m. Stan Bradley, top man, Chris. Really enjoy your work. I appreciate that, Stan. It could very well be, Rachel. I think you're right. It depends. It depends on what flew over here, what came over here on the rocks, too, right? Because you said on there the human genome is too complex for panspermia. You may actually be correct. But like I said, we don't know what actually might have made its way over here. So yeah, I mean, I agree, but I still go by the idea that I believe that we were probably there at one. Like I said, we might have been there both the same time, and because now, like I said, we're finding out that we're much older than originally said. Like, we go back to 6,000 years or 10,000 years. Now we're like 250,000, like a quarter million years old. And I'm talking about intelligent beings here on Earth. And we're not talking about like cavemen. And it's going back. It's probably even a lot more than that. It's a history we just don't know. We're just learning. We're just throwing these theories around, hoping we're right. We can just it's like throwing dots in the dark. We just don't know. Every time they dig up something new, it's like go back like Tepe. When you go back to that, it's older than it could have been the very first civilization. So on. I mean, you're going way back now, and people are going, well, that blows that idea about how many thousands of years old we are. I mean, so yeah. Well, Mary Golds, yeah, you're saying evolution is false. Well, we are still evolving to this point now. As far as the way they say from evolving from apes, yeah, I don't believe that either. Because if that was the case, every ape on the planet would not be an ape, right? They'd be all like us. So yeah, I don't really buy that story either, to be truthful with you. Chris Chapman, Mars to Earth. Correct. I believe that is. You know what? Zob on Google Moon, you can see some weird, very weird, crazy things. Oh, yeah. I don't really go by Google too much, only because that can be, there was a moon photo that somebody said, "Oh no, you got to check out these coordinates." Over on Google Moon and of course Mars, you can go to Mars Moon, and I checked it out. And as I zoomed in, the more I zoomed in and got right to its maximum zoom, you can see where there's like all pieces, which they did. They actually take them and just basically sew these things and stitch them together, right? And you can see like parts of it nice and crystal clear. There's the area over here is completely blurry. Now, of course, that could be the time of day, the way the camera took the photo. There's so many variables that could change and cause that to do that. But when you see a blatant blur, I mean, it's like, and the rest of it around the blur is pretty darn good resolution. Yeah, pretty weird. I have, was it Michael Wise, eye-opening to watch astronaut Ken Johnson speak. Have you seen his famous photos of the moon? I actually have. Him and I are good friends. I actually did because he had a James Oldberg, which is a guy who was trying to trash him and ruin his life for I don't know how long. And you can go back into my videos. I said Ken Johnson sets the record straight, and I had him on there talking now with their Brett Collins. They literally had these photos, and like I said, they had like the second gen photos. And the story goes that they had four sets of these Mars photos, identical. The only difference is some of them were more manipulated. So they just told him, "Hey, listen, do me a favor. Go ahead and throw these out. We don't need them." So he said, "Well, what about," and I guess they said he can keep one copy. He said, "Well, what about sending one to one of these universities, these colleges? Wouldn't that, it'd benefit the kids and the people there?" No. Then they came out with "We don't care what you do with them, just get rid of them." Of course, he took it as a loophole. So he took that extra copy, threw out the other two, gave it to a university. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but he gave it to it. And not long after, it disappeared, just disappeared. But his photos, and he's up on Flickr as well. If you look at Ken Johnson Sr., I think it is, when you look at his photos, they're not whited out. They're not manipulated in a sense to like really extreme, like a lot of the second, I should say the third or fourth gen, right? His are pretty darn good, even though they're manipulated. They're not as bad. And that's one of the arguments I had with James Oldberg. I said, "Listen," he showed me, he says, "Oh, that's not even a real one. This is a real one." And it was completely whited out, guys. I was like, "Are you serious right now?" And I showed him a comparison. I said, "This is what Ken Johnson has, and this is what you just showed me. Are you kidding me?" Total difference. You can see so much more contrast. You can see depth in the photo. The other one, completely whited. Why did they do it? To completely take out any kind of depth and any kind of individuality of these said objects on the moon. And it could be Mars too. They can do the same thing, right? So yeah, definitely familiar with his work. In fact, we were down at the Mars conference down in down south there, and when we went down, and like I said, we went down, and had a great time. We were talking about the work, and we were showing photos and everything else. It's pretty wild. Good stuff. That could very well be. Yeah, it's a good point, Rachel. You put on there. Most animals here share the same sex production as humans, which tells me humans and animals were put here by our engineers so life can complement itself in a chain of life program. And that, you know what, that could very well be. Great comment. Yes, Ms. Hurd, he is. Like I said, in fact, I got a book signed by him when I was down there, and he said, "Thanks for having my back," because of you know who, James Oldberg, and so he actually wrote that in the book. In fact, I think I showed it in the last live feed I had. So yeah, taking off the American Rebel. Well, I'm glad you stopped in, man. It's good to see you in there. Take care, Chris. Got to go. See you next time. All right, man. Jump at any time. It's episode 750. Not ape, some kind of weird aquatic creature. Well, that's what they're saying. They started off, it started off from like this goo coming from the water, and, became little, amphibious creatures and grew into land animals, then into people. I don't believe all that. I don't think that's the case there at all. I think there's much more to it. I think we were put here, and I don't think we really know our origins. And this is the big question, right? For scientists, where are we from? So they're just taking these ideas and saying, well, yeah, it's all evolution. I don't believe that's the case at all. Yeah, Art Duro, you put on there. It would be nice if you work with a graphic artist. Think about it. You are doing a good job with the line graphics, but I mean, like someone giving 3D to your findings. Yeah, it's kind of like my buddy Joe over at Alien TV. He has a guy that actually will do that sometimes for him. Was doing it for a while there, and he would actually put it into a 3D kind of thing, and it looked awesome. Really cool stuff. These guys know their crap there behind a computer. These guys with all the graphics and stuff. Rachel, you put on the. I agree with you. I'm the same way. I love thinking about this stuff. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine if the real photos or the real stuff they're seeing on Mars? If it's anything like we're seeing in the photos, and I mean, we're only seeing a snippet, like of what's really on there, right? Can you imagine the stuff they're really seeing on there? Oh my God. I don't think we could fathom it, to be truthful, because the first thing you would think of, okay, it's a structure. Okay, no big deal. But the fact that it's not ours, that's what's crazy. If whether it's on the moon, whether it's on Mars, whatever it may be, oh my God. Uh, it's crazy to even think about it. It's just like, because that, like I said, when these guys, the Apollo mission, when they went to the moon, and they went there, I'm sure they were briefed about it. This is what you guys are going to find. What I need you guys to do is do this. So they went up there and said, you need to take this and need to take that. And by the way, bring some rocks back. Just from PR move. I think when they went there, they were briefed. They probably had photos of it, from satellite photos or whatever. But when they got there, that's when the reality kicked in, and they seen these things right in front of them. And I can't even imagine, the awe and this being scared seeing these things, because it's not ours. So I can just only imagine what these guys mentally went through. Well, you seen the press conference after that, right? Yeah. Let's see. J.A. Tony Clark. Hello, Chris. Hope everyone's having a good day today. I just found your live stream. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. Glad you could jump right in there. Evolution is a lie. That's why I believe you ain't going to convince me otherwise. We're more important in some by chance. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we were put here for a reason. Now, whether we came here on our own, but the big question is, where do we come from? How did it all start? You know what I mean? And that's what man's always been trying to piece together since the dawn of time. They're just trying to figure it out. And of course, they'll try to fill in the holes with different things, their theories and different reasons for it, right? Um, you know, this is the reason why I like, what is it, Prometheus, because they're going after our creators, trying to figure out, why you put us here, why you tried to destroy us, why you did this and why you did that. And that's cool. That's why I love movies like that. It's pretty good stuff. Chris and anyone else, human and animal DNA being mixed together and being cloned up at the ISS. Space has no claws, correct? Not if they're using it as a just scientific, finds. I don't know. I'm sure there's like they got their own guidelines and stuff like that, what they can do, what they can't. But I know they're trying to. I think they're trying to figure out what would happen to like women giving birth in low gravity. What it would be like, and I think they even said that the embryo wouldn't be the same as here on Earth, obviously, because it's low, gravity, because it's only like I think it's microgravity on the ISS. And so if you think about it, what would it be like? Thinner bones, smaller, a lot bigger. And so they're kind of trying to get the idea of that, what would happen. It's the reason why they bring up little lab rats and stuff like that and try to see how that would work out and what they would come out looking like. And so it's good to experiment like that, because at some point when we do go to Mars or we do go to the moon, of course we could already be there, but if we are, then it just makes you wonder. It's like, okay, they've done all this. They should actually have the answers, right? Or if they don't, then this is the reason why they're doing them. And yeah. Well, I know they're messing around with propulsions, and different engine drives, Shep. You said, I can't imagine what they're doing up there. And you said misheard. You are right. And I know they were talking about different propulsions. And yeah, I think it was more ion drives. So that's crazy in itself because they could do it in a lot smaller model, right? They don't have to do like something huge, like something the size of a school bus, but they could do something a lot smaller, like experimental tanks and things like that. So yeah. Let me see. Evolution can only happen if it's in the genome to evolve from ape to human by our engineers. Yeah, so you see what I'm saying? The engineers, I don't know if you ever seen that, Rachel. Prometheus. What'd you think? If you did see it, what did you think? Pretty good stuff, right? Doc Chuck, little Chuck, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. Disclosure TV in the house. I like his channel too. They do good work on there. Very good channel. Check them out, guys. Disclosure TV. If you want, go ahead and drop a link to your channel, and I'll drop it for these guys if they're interested and want to go take a look. Oh, you thought it was pretty good, huh, Rachel? Now, what did you think about it? I mean, the thing that because they were saying basically, I don't know if they got punished. I think they said where they engineered us, but then of course they, basically killed off the human. Well, you see how this starts off where he actually has like this must be like DNA or whatever to put in his body. It changes him. He goes into the river, into the waterfall rather, and that's how life starts here on Earth. It makes you wonder. I mean, you can just tell it was probably something to make him change to more like what we are as opposed to the engineer, right? So, yeah, pretty cool stuff. That's why I love that. It makes your mind just think. That's what it's all about. Pete's Vlogs. Hey, what's up, man? I'm back. Well, it's good to have you back. I didn't realize you took off. Right, Jose, you're right. Chris, Hollywood is trying to soft disclosure with movies like Prometheus. There've been quite a few. Do you think this is the case? I think so. Here's the thing: if you can get people desensitized to the fact that we are from somewhere else, or these aliens may not be as evil as people think they are, so on and so forth, then it desensitizes people. They don't get all worried about when this stuff actually does come about, or somehow it's leaked. What's going on. So yeah, so it's cool that if you think about it, right? Disclosure TV, mine is too. By the way, did you get your ticket? But yeah, you can get your name on there. My name is actually on the Curiosity rover on Mars, and my name will be flying on the new rover. Absolutely, so is mine. That's awesome. I shall do it faster than anyone else. Nacho Libre. Aditya Tata. Chris, I noticed a hexagon craters in the moon, Ceres, Titan, Mercury, and Venus. Coincidence? You should check out the old Ceres images, pyramids. Yeah, I have. I actually have. And there was one where it actually showed it looked like a pyramid. Of course, it was kind of vague, but it was there. But still, I mean, I've got one. In fact, I'm not sure if I could dig this thing out. I've got one on Ceres, and it shows like these mountain ranges, but what's in between them is what's crazy. So I might have to dig that up. I'm glad you mentioned it. Hatcher Man, thank you, sir. Thank you for the support. Like always, greatest channel on YouTube. Well, again, I appreciate that. Let me see. AKA Richard. Oh, okay. I got some crazy footage, Chris. Dude with a laptop. No kidding. Might have to check that out. Circumstance. So conference, or rather. Hey, Chris, what's going on? First thing I thought was circumstance. But yeah, what's going on? Yeah, you're right about that, Disclosure TV. Yeah, you can look it up and it says send my name, and you can actually put your name in there and everything else, and it's pretty cool. Let me see. Did I miss it, Rachel? I might have one jumped right over it. This thing, every time you guys will like say something, boom, this thing will like jump up like huge. Oh, okay. Rachel, you put on there, Dreamer. We were made to feed and reproduce off our environment, which tells me the aliens that put us here don't eat food or have reproductive organs. Hmm. Well, so how would you do it? Are you talking about they actually do it like an almost like a test tube, only it's just more out of body? Is that what you're saying as far as production wise? Let me see. I was just reading the comment. I think jumped up on me again. Let me see. Let me see. Hey, Tony Clark. I give up my gosh darn spell check. Sometimes I think it'd be a real pain in the rear end. I noticed that I'll be using it. The thing will just say something totally different. You're like, what? Yeah, I don't know if Disclosure TV. Did you drop a link down here? Like I said, I'll go ahead and drop the link so if anybody interested can take a look at your channel there. It's good stuff, guys. That's, I hear you, Pete. Everyone keeps saying nachos is it's making me hungry. Yeah, guys, smash that like button. Thumbs up. Oh yeah. Let me see. I meant. Oh, okay. John Divine. Okay, I meant. I see what you're saying there, Jay. Shep, yeah. See, Shep, you put on there. I just hope they don't eat human. See, that's the thing. I don't think that would be the case. Only because, like I said, if these people are that far advanced, I mean, you can only imagine. What kind of food would they eat? Is it something synthesized that they make themselves? That's like a superfood? And that they don't get sick. They don't, I don't know. Because we even have our own superfoods here on Earth, right? Of course, we have pollution, everything else that'll kind of tear the body to pieces, but make you sick, give you cancer. Of course, we do already have the cancer gene in our body. It just gets activated. But there's a lot of things that, it makes you wonder if they ate, what would they eat? Would it be, again, something synthesized, so it's like a superfood as opposed to a lot of the stuff we'd eat here, right? I don't know. What's your thought on that? You wrote on there, Disclosure TV. Do you think NASA is only taking pics of alien objects on Mars and not really the landscape? And that's the reason there are so many hidden things in the pictures. Yes, I think. Well, here's the thing. I've seen them where they blend anomalies into the background, right? And they're making them look like it's just all part of the landscape, and it's not. Or is it something that these things are just buried in the landscape, which is a very good possibility, depending on how long ago this catastrophe took place, right? So it makes you wonder. I've said the same thing. I'm going, when I first started seeing these things, I'm going, well, um, you know, yeah, are these things there? And are they being hidden like this, or is it actually like that? You know what I mean? Because of X amount of years being buried and now unburied, depending how you look at it, right? Windstorms. So I don't know. Good question. Um, and see, and that's the other thing too. Is it all alien objects, or is it us back in the day? You know, I think there's a lot of things we see in these photos that are a lot like we would see here on Earth. So it makes you wonder. That's why I said maybe it's a one-on-one thing. Maybe we were flying from back and forth to planet to planet. This is the reason why they have the same objects or anomalies that we're seeing in these photos, right? Is that a possibility? All right, order some pizzas. Awesome. Zappa 750. Eat a smelly human. Yeah, they probably go. "Ugh." They probably not even interested. But I think they would progress, right? They would get far beyond that because you can bet if they're so far in technologically advanced, you can almost bet that they've overcome a lot of illnesses like we're trying to do. Um, trying to take out any kind of junk DNA, something that would, like, or change it to give. Now you can get your baby can have blue eyes. And if there's any defect in their DNA, they can pull that out. Maybe they'll have MS or whatever it may be. They can literally remove that and make like a human, like pure almost, right? So yeah, I would think if they did that, then they'd be so far advanced, man, that they would be totally like super strength and superhuman, if you will. Only alien, of course, but you get the idea. Raise on stick. Hello, I wish happy birthday to my father who's watching his transmission. His name is Chupo Pinto. Okay. Oh, if he's in there watching, hello. H3. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Rockstar 8970 Able. H3, yep, helium 3. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying that because there's so many things on the moon, and I think there's a lot of resources on Mars, and this is what they're after. But is it just that? Is it just resources, or are they there for the, let's say it isn't us. It isn't our stuff. Are they there for the technology from these other inhabitants that lived on the planet? That could be a very good possibility. Yeah, Hatcher, man, you're right about that. Unfortunately, getting sick is the only way to get stronger. Yeah, because the body built up an immune system that becomes super strong. That's why you see a lot of kids who are like really sick back in the day when they were kids. It's like now you can throw anything at them, and it's basically like you got like a cast iron friggin' immune system. Yeah, I mean, Pete, I've heard that too. I believe that there are humans. I'm sorry, there are some aliens that eat humans, from what I've heard. I mean, there's no way to vet that, unfortunately. I wish there was, but there isn't. And I mean, I've heard that myself. Now, is it possible? Sure. Sure. Is You can't rule that out, right? Uh, Disclosure TV, you asked, do you think that they have live video feeds on Mars? Our satellites are in 8K, so I'm sorry, I don't see why they wouldn't or couldn't have a live feed. The rovers are actually, they're built to take high definition photo as well as photos. I'm sorry, HD videos as well as photos. And yet, if these photos are coming back as HD, it's because they're actually downgrading the actual, quality of these photos, right? And then they're manipulating them and whatever else. It's further making them crap. So instead of being like this HD quality, and now we're seeing things like 480 as opposed to what it should be, right? Because once you take a photo and just completely screw with it, as well as I do, the resolution is going to be crap. And I think they actually downgrade the resolution so they can easily probably, manipulate them and stuff like that. Because it makes it harder when you see like the second you try to zoom in, everything just breaks apart. So it's very easy to say, oh yeah, there's nothing in this photo. Because the second you try to zoom in, everything just breaks apart. All you see is pixels. You don't want to see that. You want to back out of it. You want to see, a really good quality. So a lot of times I'll take a decent sized TIFF and blow it up even more so in Photoshop so we can zoom into it and it doesn't break up as easy. And of course, then we can show you the anomaly. So, but absolutely, they're actually built with high definition to see high definition video as well as, photos themselves. And keep in mind, there is 17 cameras on that Curiosity rover, right? But you only get to see the mast, which is two of them. You get to see the two cameras on the mast. You got the nav cams in the front, the nav cams in the back. And they're only using X amount. They're only using like, I think it's like 9, 10 cameras. The other ones might be just avoidance cameras, right? But if they're on the sides and stuff like that and different cameras they're not telling you about, they could easily be taking video clips very easily. They did, Leatherneck Joe. Yes, Chris. People who view the moon pictures don't realize that when NASA sent the Clementine satellite to the moon, they used ground penetrating radar. What you're really seeing is underground structures. Absolutely, I've done a video on that. In fact, I think it was called "Radar Images of the Moon Unveil Great Details" or something along them lines. But you guys can look that up. Just go into my channel, hit the little search thing, just put on there "Radar Images of the Moon," and it should bring it up. And yeah, absolutely. Some of the craters you can actually see it went the ground penetrating radar was 30 to 55 feet below the surface, and what it looked like was a friggin' city. I mean, they say, well, it was kind of like lava tubes. I don't know about that, man. When you take a look at this thing and then you take a magnifier, oh my god, there's no way that this stuff is natural. There's just no way. And if it is, it looks damn close to a city. Let's just put it that way. Uh, what? Michael Stargate put on Chris. Did you read about this guy who claimed an asteroid, and when NASA landed on it, he sent him a huge parking bill? No, I don't think I heard about that, but I think I did. I'm trying to remember if it was. Oh, I'm trying to remember if it was something else. It was something along them lines, but no, I don't really remember hearing about that. Um, it is pretty funny though if they did. Studious realism. Our Creator had a long time to make things before humans evolved and the Son of God was born. Yeah, I mean, here, a lot of people, will try to speculate. I think what it is, if you look at the way we think, right? We've been told there's a God, and that's the way it's always been. And then you get the people from the scientific community saying, nah, that's not the case. And of course, their argument is always, but at some point, somebody created all, right? And of course, it keeps going on and on and on. Okay, who created God? You know what I mean? It's crazy. Me, and I think I've heard some guy say this. He goes, "How about this? How about the universe was always there? It's as simple as that." But yet the question still lingers. But how did it start? Where do we come from? How's this? What's that? You know what I mean? Yeah, crazy stuff. Disclosure TV. You could, Chris. What's the coolest thing you found in your pics? It depends. If you're talking about the moon, I found what looked like many structures clustered together. I found what looked like some kind of weird vehicles of some sort that look a lot like we have. Came down it was in an opportunity photo. It looked like it slid down this crater wall. Um, Man, there's a bunch of them. Excuse me. Trying to think here. There's so many of them, man. It's just hard to tell. Exactly what was my favorite. Or what's the most? I don't know. Most awesome thing, basically, right? The coolest thing. Let me see here. Um, oh, this thing jumped up again. Crazy. Um, Aditya Tata, you said, do you think these aliens value human life? I mean, we have wars, disease, and murders happening each day. Many people die from natural disasters. Do you think these aliens care about human loss? I think to a certain degree because they probably want to see us prosper and move forward like they have. But at this point, they're probably just looking to say, man, they're just so primitive. They're still warring with each other. Because you could just tell if these guys were super advanced, they must be going, man, we were there at one time. We warred about our resources. We warred about, these belief systems. We went to war about a lot of these things, but they're so far ahead of that. You would think anyway that they're not willing to actually. They may get together with some of the elite if they met on the moon, and of course, pure speculation. But if they did, they're willing to meet with them and say maybe they're trying to steer us in the right direction. This is the way you should do it, so on and so forth. Whatever the case is. So I don't know. I don't. I mean, I think they would care, and this is the reason why you always hear these stories about these UFOs flying around these missile silos and shutting them down, shutting these bases down. Again, I don't think they want us to go to war, but they're just going, you know what, just let them handle it. Just let them have it out and see what happens. But I do think the human loss, I think they do care, to be truthful with you. It's here. You put on the. I thought all gods were invisible. People say God is in the flesh. His name was Advent, us, Jesus. Maybe you heard of him, Rachel. Okay, speaking of Rachel. Okay. Yeah, I'd take a look at a studio's realism. You did your crush tunnel with cars video today from 2013. Would you like it? What if you did it? Sure, that's fine. We've all been there, misheard. We can't spell. I can't spell tonight. Um, um, I did your Tata. You put on the. I want to let you know you do an amazing job. Have you considered doing this full time? I have. I really have because I got so much to share in so little time that it does kind of mess with me a little bit. But I like working and stuff like that, and I enjoy doing this at the same time. So it's kind of like this weird love hate thing going on where you wish you could do a lot more, have more time to do it, right? And but like I said, I mean, I've always worked, so it doesn't bother me to do it. Maybe in the future I would do it full time, you know. Um, Chris Dolan, great question. You put on there. Do you think rovers that fail like a Beagle are actually working in secret? Uh, Again, pure speculation, but it's just odd. Like when you look at the Spirit rover, again, the Opportunity's twin. Supposedly it got stuck. Now I do believe it did get stuck. Now that because I've done a video on Spirit Rover where it looked like it literally got stuck on a piece of metal. It's literally coming out of the ground into the wheel. And I'm saying to myself, at first I'm going, yeah, that's trash. I don't believe that because it's showing it got caught in deep sand. Yet you can see when I did that video, remember that video I broke down for you guys, the Opportunity one, and we can see what looks like these things on the side of the road and, try to enhance it and bring the stuff out. And I showed you where there was, um, manipulations and blurring, purpose blurring in there. Well, you could see it when you watch that whole video. You can literally see it literally gets buried halfway to three quarters up them wheels, and yet this thing, the Opportunity, is still pulled out of it. So I'm going, what gives? The Spirit Rover was the same exact design. They were sisters. They were sister rovers. So why couldn't it get out? Well, there's a good reason. It literally got stuck on something, and I did a video on that. Excuse me, hit the mic here. I did a video on that, and it literally shows what looks like a piece of metal, and you can see what they blurred out the spot. But when you burn through that blurring, you can literally see something sticking into the wheel. That's what stopped it. That's what it got stuck on. It wasn't the dirt. At least from what I'm seeing in the photo, that's what I'm going by. Exactly, John Devon. Yeah, you put on there four front nav cams and four back. At least two send full res, but we don't get to see them. Well, again, let's suppose they're all um, full resolution, high resolution photos. By the time they're done with them, they're not. I think, like I said, I think they downscale the resolution, and then they do their magic on it, if you want to call it magic. They do their manipulation. They send them out to the public. Because if it was a pristine photo, you almost see that thing like right instant. You would see the manipulation instantly. You can't see it as easily on a smaller, low res photo, right? Again, zoom into it. What does it do? It breaks apart on you. This is the reason why I enlarge it. Enlarge the DPI on these things to get them a lot bigger so it doesn't fall apart and you can see these anomalies much better. That's an interesting, yeah. How'd you taking off? Hatchet Man, I have to go early tonight, Chris. Look forward to every hangout and every video. Great work. I appreciate it, Hatchet Man. Good seeing you in here as always. Thank you for being here. You have yourself a good night. Good week coming up there, right? Oh, you remember that, Philip? Yeah, I remember when you said. I remember when you've done that. Um, I agree with you. You put on there. Why do you think the aliens work with the elite or the government? We are still all people. Elites aren't any better. Like the elites are always or may have ill intentions. And I agree with you. I mean, and you're right about that. Here's the thing: it's kind of like our president or your governor or whoever may be in charge of your country, right? It's the same way. You basically set the rules, and of course, you got governors and everything else in the little areas and stuff like that that actually enforce the rules. Well, if you have the elite, they're talking to these aliens, and then of course they bring it down. It rolls downhill some way somehow, and they basically dictate what's going to go on this planet, inadvertently somehow through our leaders or whatever. And so then it kind of controls everything. And then it's down to just simple laws down here on Earth. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Here's the thing. You said it's something about ill intentions. You have to understand these people, these elites are still on this planet, regardless, right? So they don't want to see the planet blown up either. So, because they're on it. So, I mean, to me, I don't think they would allow that to happen. Although, there's still a money thing goes on. People are just constantly wanting that cash. Give the richer get richer, poorer get poorer, right? So, yeah. I don't know. I think, like I said, I think they do actually work alongside of the government or the elite. Like I said, it's the people who run this planet. Ultimately rich, the actual military themselves, and they're far above the president. The president's a puppet. I mean, that's all he is. Like my friend likes to call it politricks, not politics. Philip Withington, if I can get the if I can if I can get the Nikon 900 or 1000, I will send you pics of the moon if it's okay with you. I hope I can get it before November. Yeah, I mean, I even thought about getting one of those myself, at least 1000 anyway. Um, it's supposed to be a little bit better camera, not by much, but still. I thought about doing the same thing, and who knows? Near future may just do that. Like I said, I've got my two telescopes. This small one's like a 4.5 inch. The other one, I believe, is a 4. I wouldn't swear to it. I got them both in the other room, just sitting there. And people are like, "Why don't you get a bigger one, man?" Well, that's not out of the question either. But like I said, I mean, that wasn't my intentions when I first started doing these videos. So but that doesn't mean I can't change it, right? See what happens in the future. But yeah, I definitely like to see them, Philip, no doubt. This Golden TV, you asked Chris, did you get to watch the Bob Lazar and Joe Rogan show? What'd you think about it? I think it's crap how the government did that to him. And a lot of people don't know Bob Lazar. Not like I know him, like it's not like we hang out and have drinks, right? But there was one video, and I can't remember the name of it. It's something about his car runs on this, or his something. It's about his car, how he made it into hydrogen, as a Corvette. And this is when he's younger. I mean, so the guy's brilliant as far as that goes. But what they did was the government tried to basically erase his everything about him, which is the government can do that, man. They can make you disappear if they really want to. I don't think we'd have that worry. But when you got a guy that used to work for Area 51, right, and pretty much knew all the intricate workings, yeah, I mean, think about it. They don't have to kill you. All they're going to do is take all your every bit of information away from you, and then you're a nobody. Then where do you go? You can't do anything for the rest of your life. You're just kind of like in limbo. But yeah, but he's old enough in age. He probably doesn't really care all that much. But you heard what he said, right? He was completely shocked that they did that, and how they went about it is crazy. Yeah, I do, Chris. Dolan, you put in there when they eventually send men to Mars. Do you think there'll be disclosure about life in some form? There will. In fact, they already do. See if I can find this. I found a link earlier. Um, this is from. Let me see if I can remember the site. It's republicworld.com. In fact, my buddy Joe White from Our Alien TV put this on his site on Facebook, and he put it says Mars most probable place for life beyond Earth reveals NASA administrator Jim Bridenstine, I guess his name, or Bridenstine. Let's see, an incident developed National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA administration Jim Bridenstine or Stein has said that there's a possibility of life on Mars beyond Earth. Talking to an international news channel, Jim Brin, I'm just going to say Brin, Jim, I was going to say Brin, right? Substantiated his claim by saying that as per last year's discovery, a complex organic compound has been on the surface of Mars while dismissing life on the moon. So, they've already found this. There's water there. And he actually says this. What does it say right here? But going back to the science in the last year, we have discovered complex organic compound on the surface of Mars. The building blocks of life exist on the surface of Mars. They are not on the moon at all, zero, but they are on Mars all over, he said. So, and you guys can check this out yourself. I'll give you the link. So yeah, come on, guys. They're just letting it out. Drip, 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 drip. So it's getting there. Hopefully this thing will go through. I don't know if it's going to go there or not. It's not letting me do it. Maybe it's just too darn big. Okay. Get rid of it. And it's not letting me drop this link. Let's see. Maybe it's just the damn link is way too big. Oh yeah, that's what it is. It's the characters you can put in the box. It's too long. It's only 200 characters and it's got 212. Let me see here if I can do this. It's not allowing me to do it. The characters is just too long for it. I'll leave it in the bottom here. In my comment section, I'll leave the one in there. It'll probably be on there tonight, later, and probably tomorrow. I'll drop them in there. I'll drop these links so you guys can check them out. But it's wild because we've been saying this all along. There's life in there because he says it right out when there's, okay. And what we do know about liquid water, anywhere in Earth. Okay, hold on. That's why Don thing's too small. It's actually like 75% on the screen. Okay. And what we know about liquid water, anywhere it exists on Earth, it has life. We have learned that Mars had its own northern hemisphere and ocean. 2/3 of the northern hemisphere in Mars, I don't know why he put in instead of on, was covered by ocean and had a thick atmosphere, explained Jim in an interview. I've been saying this for the longest time, guys. It has a water cycle. It has wind. You can actually see the clouds in a lot of these photos. The cirrus clouds, which is weather-changing clouds. The ice, the polar caps, they come, they go, just like here on Earth. And it's not just carbon ice like they claim. Now, at first they said it's just carbon ice, nothing there to see. But then I said, no, there's no way because these caps are coming back. And it's not just by pressure either. So then they said, oh, by the way, there's actually H2O under the CO2. So there's actually ice, water ice, just like we have here on Earth, and we have carbon ice on top of it. It's no different. Michael Stark, you put on there, according to Alex Jones, there is a breakaway civilization started by NASA since 50s. At least these elites talk to interdimensional ETs using DMT and are guided and build advanced tech and detached from the public. I believe, like I said, they've been talking to them for quite a while. And like I said, it's just like we're just not privy to it, guys. That's all there is to it. And it's sad that it's like that because I think everybody should know it. Again, that we're part of something much larger. I think people would have a different outlook on life. I think people would say, wow, at least we're not just alone on this little speck of dust. We're actually part of something much larger, right? And I think that would do the public some good, to be truthful with you. Chris Davis, you put on there, Chris, huge fan. Appreciate it, Chris. And let me ask you a question. Do you believe life is throughout our solar system? They say it's everywhere. What do you think? I absolutely believe there is. Now, some people say, no, you don't understand. There's like, you got these gas giants here in the solar system. They're gas giants, but there's a core to them. There's actually, there's some way on there. In other words, there's a core or some kind of, we're going to use the term small ball right at the center of this gaseous planet. So just because we couldn't go to these planets and breathe on them doesn't mean aliens could not, or other inhabitants will use the term. I hate seeing, aliens because it's like these little gray guys and that's all they are. They're much more than that. I think they're a lot like us. They just, maybe they are different, but they breathe probably different atmospheres, just like, fish can get, oxygen through the water. I think they can get their they're breathing through different gases or whatever. How do we know? Just because we can't live on it? How ignorant are we to believe that, oh, well, nothing could ever live on that planet? That's not true. We don't, I think we're just learning how to crawl as a civilization, and we just don't know yet. Like I said, we're coming out and looking at this solar system going, wow, this is the reason why we're sending all kinds of these probes and everything else outside exosolar system. We're sending things all over these moons of our solar systems, our planets. Come on. I think they found all you need to find is something on the moon. That's all you need. Because if it's not ours, you can bet there's something all through this solar system and beyond there, that there's life everywhere, at least at some point, right? There was another thing he said, and it was pretty cool. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it now. Because basically, there's carbon based, they said something about 67P, where they found like carbon on the actual comet. So again, what are we made out of? We're carbon-based life forms. So if that's the case, and it's throughout the solar system and throughout the universe, guess what? There's a good chance there's more than just us around. Starseed, I can't stay way too long and hear you guys out. However, I enjoy you guys' talks and how you guys thinks. Well, you know what? It's good to have like-minded people and share different ideas because, like I said, for me, it's always this learning curve. And if you don't get up in the morning and learn something new every day, then you stop growing. It's as simple as that. Now, you can only strive for the truth, and I've always said that. I tell people, listen, you don't have to believe a thing in my videos. I'm only bringing you what I think is going on in the photo, whatever, but I want you guys to do your own research. And because after you do your own research, you can come to your own conclusions, right? And that's what the channel's all about. It's always been like that. Yeah, Nacho. Yeah, you put on the Nacho Libre. You said, what do you think about metals found on the moon inside rocks? We only know of because we produce them here on Earth. Yeah, I mean, they found titanium, different metals and stuff like that. And that's why a lot of people are, they want to believe, and it could very well be true, that it is a hollow moon, it's a construct. In fact, I looked at remember when I was telling you guys about the craters? What's funny about them is, why is it that here's the curvature of the moon? You can't tell me these meteors come straight onto this moon at all times, and yet you don't ever see like oblong craters. You always see them like just perfectly round or pretty darn close, right? It makes no sense to me. And there's a photo I looked at. This is funny because, and it was very clear. And I may actually feature this in one of my videos coming up. It literally shows the deteriorated part of the ejecta from this crater that was left, right? Funny thing about it, the crater floor was no different than the actual outside the crater. It was the same. There was no depth. It's just a crater wall was built up, but yet when you look at the actual curvature of the moon, there's no difference. There was no indentation in the ground at all. It was the same exact level as the outside of that wall. What the hell? So it makes you wonder, okay, what is going on here? So is this really a construct, and is it actually artificial? That's a very good possibility, guys. Due to the laptop, aka Richard Radovic. Yeah, you put it 67P as a mothership, according to Jimmy Roberts. And he could be very well be right, because I've seen the video he did about what looked like pieces sticking out. Did a great job on that. And I'm going to show you one. There's actually two anomalies that stick out of that thing. You're just going to go, whoa, what the hell is that? There's no way it's rock. And when you see it, it's just going to blow your mind. In fact, that may be coming up tomorrow evening, latest Tuesday. So you guys will check that out. And I've got other ones coming up for you guys as well. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, what Jimmy showed was awesome, because let me tell you something. When you start to see these things look like pieces sticking out, look like, structures like on it's almost like the Terminator of it, right? Because it was on the top. And you can see these look like steel pieces sticking right out of the thing. And yeah, I've done a video on 67P, at least a couple of them way back in the day. And you can see where it looks like this framework, like parts of the pieces of this comet is blown off, and you can see framework. It makes no sense, guys. I think it's an actual, think about it. I think it's a spacecraft itself, but it may not be a spacecraft totally, meaning if you could do this, in other words, take your own lander, like they tried to do with the one they put on 67P. When they put on, all you got to do is latch onto it, which they tried to. Remember that when they had this like an explosive that would send like a harpoon type anchor into it. But they found out the actual material on 67P was so hot that it literally bounced off and sent the lander flying into a ditch. It's in this crevice. And what was funny about it is that they said, of course, the battery died because it only had, well, actually, it was solar too. I think it was. I think it was solar, and because it couldn't get any light, it pretty much shut itself down after the battery itself and died. But it's literally some kind of weird spacecraft. And but if you could get a craft to land on and latch onto it, think about it. You don't have to use any fuel. As long as you can get sun and get that thing charged up, it literally can go through the solar system because it makes its way through. I forgot what the elliptical orbit is on it, but think about it. It can literally take pictures anywhere it goes as long as it's got sun and as long as it can charge up. It can take photos wherever it's passing, whatever planet, whatever it may pass. It can take photos of it. Just piggyback on the side of this comet, right? Yes. Liam Stewart Brown, the Dogon tribe. Yeah, talk about being an egg in a time before the moon was here. There's actually more than one of these tribes and these ancient people talked about how there's a time without the moon. That's what's crazy. So it makes you wonder: was it moved in here at a certain time? But it's a whole lot older than Earth. So yeah, I mean, and it has to get people's curiosity up because you're just going, okay, so where did this moon come from? Some people say it was been put here to keep an eye on us. Are we like, is it like with some kind of giant ant farm? What the hell? I mean, they're just keeping, maybe they just planted us here and they just want to see how we evolve and we, just like an experiment. What do you guys think? Dennis Branham, you said you can actually see buildings around those domes too. It's crazy. It's amazing. Yeah, absolutely. Just some of these things you see on this moon is just absolutely insane. Just some of the things when again, there's really no depth if you put a lot of white and you white out a photo. You don't see the depth of the photo and you don't see these, like I said, individual smaller parts as well as the larger ones. And that's when you get into the photo, you can literally pull the stuff apart. Why you put on there, Rachel? Why doesn't NASA or any other country send probes to these locations on the moon that has buildings and structures? Well, I'm sure they have, and if they haven't, it really doesn't matter to them because, like somebody commented was pretty funny. They said the LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, can probably see a dime on the lunar surface, and I believe it can, but. Some of these photos are really vague. In other words, they're like, I don't know if they just don't make them good quality for some reason. And then there's times where it's like super clear and you can see where they manipulated it though. That's what's crazy. That's when I did that other one. It looked like structures all over that area that was bare, meaning no craters, none of that. It was just wide open. And then you can see all these things were actually in this photo. It's crazy how the stuff is there. I think they know it and they've taken up real close up photos of these things. So they really don't have to go there. But they went there. There's the reason why they went on these, 11 through 17, these Apollo missions. They're there for a reason. They've done it for a reason. They went there to just check out these anomalies, these things that are there, whether it be tech, whatever it may be, right? Exactly, Michael Stark. You put on there, Chris. I'm sure you've noticed that most craters on the moon have hexagonal shapes. Their depths nowhere near match their diameters. Hard shelled and hollow. It's a Dyson sphere satellite. I guess reconning Earth. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it's when you look at these things. Some of these things are like miles. Let's say it's a mile wide. One of these craters, right? But yet they're only the same depth as the moon, meaning the actual lunar surface. They're not much deeper. Come on. And then you get the smallest ones. Hit the mic again. You get the smallest ones are just as deep, or is a much larger one. The much larger one should put a dent in that damn lunar surface. Like huge, right? And yet you don't see that. It's like you're trying to tell me every rock or foreign matter that had flown into the lunar surface actually hit it straight on? I don't believe that. You don't hardly ever see any like crater that's been been hit from an angle, and you just see like this long field. We're gonna call it, right. You don't see any of that. How is it possible? Yeah, John Devine, you're right. Just because we have lungs doesn't mean they do too. Maybe breathing is different. Could absorb to breathe, not gas like us. Science experiment. Yeah. Well, again, like I said, I don't know if you're talking about when I just said that about how they put us here, and they were like a giant ant farm. They're just like seeing how we evolve, see what kind of technological advancement we can do, so on and so forth, and they're just kind of like looking. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, let's see. Let me see. Oh, let's see. Amangong Na. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right at all. 68, Chris. The last video of the moon, there's a lot of stuff that's questionable. I think they are not space junk. I'm not sure if you're saying are they space junk. And that's a very good possibility too. How do we know over the years? Again, we don't know exactly how old we are. They're not telling us. How do we know that this isn't like the Mayans say we're like in the fifth cycle? So in other words, the human race has been here, hasn't been completely killed off, but you've got floods, fire, so on and so other just catastrophic events four times, and we managed to come back. Is it possible, like in the very first time, we were more technologically advanced, and that we've been on the moon before or tried and crashed on the moon? How do we know? Again, pure speculation, but how do we know? Hey, Long Island, New York, 13. What's up, Chris? Can't stay long. Dropping in, just dropping in, aliens, man. Yeah, good to see you in there, man. Glad you stopped in. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd love to see the big picture, the real big picture here, guys. Like what they're really finding, because I can't even imagine how it would blow everybody's mind. You know what I mean? I know I'd be blown away, even though we've been desensitized to a certain degree, but that don't mean squat. I don't think we're just scratching the surface of what they've showed us. I can't even imagine what there's actually out there. Ken, I'm not sure. I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name because I don't want to butcher it. Chris, what do you think? What do you think of the asteroid that quote snuck up on us? A city killer. Yeah, they call it the city killer. The 2019 OK was actually the name of it. And the funny thing about this thing, I think it was what was it? Was it Thursday? I think it was Thursday on the 25th. And you guys could correct me if I'm wrong. But it was like 45,000 miles from Earth. Now, when you do the math, the moon itself is 238,000 miles away. This was 45,000 miles away, and they said it snuck up on us. And the reason for that is because it came from it might have slingshotted around the sun, and they couldn't see this thing. So it was only like a few days they actually seen this thing sneak up on us, so to speak. So that was just crazy, man. And when you see that, you just go, "Wow, what else? Couldn't they see? What happens if something really does actually smack the hell out of us?" But they call it a city killer because this thing was X amount of, I forget how big this thing actually was, but um, yeah, I mean, what was the one that was in the Ukraine or Russia? I mean, that thing was insanely loud, and the destruction it had done, just someone just and it wasn't very big. So now you get this thing that's X amount of, whatever size it was, and basically it's a city killer. If it came in such a speed and slammed into a city, forget about it. Thousands would die, man. But yeah, this thing just snuck up on us. Yeah, okay. Maybe they thought it was going to hit the planet. They didn't want to tell anybody. Think about it. But then everybody going, Naz, you kind of dropped the ball on that one, didn't you? So yeah. Tampa 750 Global Convo. How wonderful people. High five. High five back at you, man. Good to have you guys in here. Anyway, I mean, here's the thing. Uh, That's cool of you, misheard that. Actually, say that to Long Island, New York. That was cool of you. The when you get these um, when you get these comments or these foreign bodies coming into our atmosphere, I mean, they burn up if they're very tiny. But when you get something, let's say it's the size of a bus, oh my god, and it comes in at like 27,000 miles an hour, it's going to do some destruction, man. It's going to really do some major, destruction. So, yeah, we don't need any more of them things going on. I think they kind of dropped the ball on that one. Yeah, you're right about that, John. Yeah, our moon is the only moon we know of that is not going to someday crash into the planet. It has such a weird orbit. Yeah, like I said, it's moving away of 1 inch, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, a year. So, and that's how they could tell. They could tell by bouncing that laser off of these laser reflectors. And like I said, one of the things that India is doing with their new orbiter and stuff like that, and they're going to land the lander as well as the rover they have. They're going to put these 1 ounce little disc kind of thing, laser, um, um, basically reflectors, right, on the moon. So they're basically still doing the same thing. They're, still bouncing off there. They could check the distance and the way it turns and all this other good stuff. So, yeah, I'm almost positive something more to it than that they're just not saying, right? Long Island, New York. Yes, the answer is yes. Taylor Sticks. Yeah, the real Jimmy Roberts. A little edgy. No, how about that? How would I be a little edgy? Let's see. Richard Mortimer, you put on there. There are numerous uncharted asteroids between the Earth and the Sun. They just found one the size of Paris. Their description, not mine. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. You get, these things come out of, the asteroid belt or anything like that. I mean, they get slingshotted into every direction, whether it be Mars, Earth, Moon, doesn't matter. And you just have to understand that these things can be bounced any direction. They can be shot out. They slam into each other and shoot out in any direction they want to, right? So yeah. All right, let's see. All right, you said bye, Chris. Been great watching. Keep up the great work. 11:58 a.m. UK time, night night. All right, man. Thanks for stopping in. I do appreciate you. And like I said, I'm glad that you were able to go in here and have yourself a good week there, right? Graham Hancock also claims we weren't the first advanced civilization here on Earth. And I believe that's true. Because, like I said, how do we know you have a great catastrophic event, almost wipes out the population, but doesn't? How do we know how far we were then? How do we know? I remember hearing about there was, they literally were going through this old mine. They were digging a mine. And what happened was they went down, I forget how many hundreds of feet, went down there and literally hit a brick wall, literally hit a brick wall. So they uncovered this thing and found out, like I said, it was just like a regular brick wall. So they did the calculations and they said it's X amount of thousands of years old. I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? So, we were here much longer than people are saying. Well, think too. Oh yeah, absolutely. I did your Tata. You put on there. Do you ever feel like your coworkers are oblivious to what's out there? like they're simpletons or just don't open their mind to question existence. Well, I think a lot of people are just perfectly happy with just going through, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, people they get up in the morning, do whatever they got to do. They shit, shower, and shave. They eat, run out the door, go to work, come back. Of course, they want to relax now. Turn on their TV, eat something, and go to bed and repeat the next day. So I don't see that as a problem. But I think there's a lot of people that are starting to awaken to a lot of this stuff where they're saying, you know what, I'm just curious, and they're asking questions. So I think that's awesome that they do that. I do have coworkers that have asked me about it because they said it'd come up sometime and people, hey, what do you think about this? And I say, well, all right. And I'll say, well, what do you feel about it? Like maybe if there's life other, I say, I'm not so sure. I don't think there is. Or someone will say, yeah, I absolutely think there is. There's no way they can look up at the stars and say, oh yeah, we're the only ones here. So even just a simple, just looking up at the sky, you got to say, well, we can't be the only ones there. There's just no way. I don't believe so. Circumference. Appreciate you, man. No doubt about it. Cheers from Austin. I enjoy your videos. Keep them coming. Well, I sure will. No doubt about it. Like I said, I'm going to have that other one coming up. It's like I said, the 67p, and I've got another one from Mars coming up, and some more stuff from the moon. So, guys, stay tuned for that as well. I don't think I've heard of that. I'm going to just call you New York 13. A UFO crashed in South Haven Park in Long Island in the 90s. Not familiar with that one. Mark Sims, what's up in the house? What's going on, Mark? Roswell, you put on the. Are you able to see the USA flag on the moon with Google Map from the moon? The only way I can see it now, I haven't looked at that in a while. I don't really go by that too much. Google Map, whether it be Mars or Moon, unless they took it and changed it, meaning they put. Um, Again, I haven't seen it in a long time, but unless they put the footage of there. And I think it was the Hubble that actually took a picture of the landing site. So if they did that, then you'll find it. If not, then no, because you won't be able to see the flag. You will be able to see the actual landing site where you get the capsule, the lander rather, and you can see the wheel marks and of course the little lunar buggy and stuff like that. So yeah. Alrighty then. Let's see. I'm just listening. I'm just reading you guys. You guys are going back and forth. They're talking with each other, which is cool. Yeah, Billy Joe Donnell. Yeah, you put on the. I started to look for UFOs for a hobby and discovered much more than I expected. Yeah, all you got to do is just observe. That's all you got to do, man. Just do your own research and stuff like that, and you'll be like astounded the stuff you'll see. I'm not sure, Michael. I've seen the same thing. I think you're talking about the one that actually shows it like the spacecraft is around Mars, then it shows them that they're on it, like it lands, and it looks like there's something crawling on the surface or something like that. Is that the one you're talking about? Because you put on there, Chris. Have you seen the video leaked NASA manned mission to Mars? You think it's legit or BS movie production? It's hard to tell because it's so low quality. At least the one I've seen was. So again, it can be easily faked. Just kind of like the same thing as like manipulating a low res photo, right? It's gonna be easily faked. You notice how it's not pristine, right? So it's hard to tell. Lasers from distance check from here and the moon. That's true. Absolutely. I'd have to actually do that. Yatata, you put on there. Do you know the how Photoshop to apply color filters in a certain way? You did this in the previous video. How do you know what color to use? I usually use like there's like a blue slash yellow because it seems to pop these items out better. Mixed together, they seem to pop it better. I have to show you guys just quick when I do it next time. So this way I can just show you it's pretty easy stuff. It just helps to pop it as far as I'm concerned, instead of just a simple black and white. Damn, dude, with a laptop, really? Don't know, trying to upload 5 minutes and it's saying 3 hours to finish. Yikes. I've done like, truthfully, I've done like 20 minutes, half hour videos, and they probably upload in 10 minutes. Um, I'm not sure what internet you're running, but yeah, it is kind of weird that it would do that. Disclosure TV, do you think people are going to storm Area 51? That was actually brought up. Disclosure TV asked that. That was actually brought up from people on Facebook. I think it was. It's like this little gag type thing. I don't know. I think it'd be foolish if they did, because they would meet with some serious opposition, and I don't think they want that. Um, but who knows? It might be just a giant tailgate party, and everybody be just chilling. Who knows, right? Just tilting back a couple and just kicking it. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. But to me, I don't know. I think that would be dangerous, and some people are going to get killed in the process. If Trump shows us proof of ETs, he has my vote. Yeah, absolutely, Miss Heard. Here, I'm the same way. I look at it this way: it's like if they could actually do that, like it's kind of like when they had Hillary in there. They said they were going to, oh yeah, if I find out, I'm definitely going to ask about it and get the truth out. It's like I didn't expect her to do it because again, our president's nothing more than puppets, right? These people are above them. They're the elites. They don't have to tell them squat if they don't want to. Although you would think General in Chief, you know what I mean? You think they could, he'd demand it, but I think they're above that. Oh, they'll just give him some snow job, and that would be the end of it. Nacho Libre, you got to head off to bed. I'll watch the rest tomorrow. Thanks for another kick-ass live stream. Love it. I support you forever, brother. I appreciate you, man. You have yourself. It's good to see you guys in here, man. It really is. I appreciate you, man, and have yourself a good night and a good week as well. All right. Yeah, it's what I thought, Michael. Yeah, so yes, that's the one, the end part where they're orbiting Mars looks convincing. Can I drop a link? Yeah, sure, drop the link, man. Um, yeah, like I said, I looked at it and I'm saying, man, it kind of looks like the real deal, but it's hard to tell. Um, because is it possible it got leaked out and it just looks that trashy? I don't know. Um, I don't know. It'd be interesting if it was true, though. Well, that's what I was saying, Miss Hayward. I was saying the same thing because it must be the internet connection or something like that. Because, like I said, I've uploaded 30-minute videos and it only takes like I don't even know what the hell it is. I don't think it's like 15 minutes tops. You know what I mean? Tops 10, 15 minutes, and then of course it's got to process it and all that other garbage. But it's still pretty quick within reason. Yeah, Mr. Wayne, you're right. Storming Area 51 would be ridiculous. And like I said, they got the okay to actually use lethal force. Why would anybody want to just do that? Unless they knew for sure they're gonna find something, and even then, it's just futile to even try to even do that. That's just crazy. Phil Cox with daughters Jessica and Kelsey. You put on there called Kelsey Brown. I filmed a plane leaving a trail with a very dark shadow, which moved from right to left side, and a trail in less than a minute. Any ideas as to why it didn't? Why it did? I'm clueless. I don't know. That's a great question. Let me move this back up. This thing just jumped on me here. Less than a minute. I don't know. That's a great question, Phil. That'd be interesting to see too. Now, do you have that on your channel? Is that what you got it on, or did you put it up there or no? Dude with a laptop, you put on there. The Vatican doesn't want the planet to know anything. Yeah, they you know what? Excuse me, guys. It's all about control. You be good so you can go to heaven and all this. It's kind of like that, like Christmas when you were a child, right? Your parents would say, well, make sure you're good or else Santa's not going to bring you anything. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of that, it's pretty sad that you got to try to behave yourself just to be rewarded, first of all. But regardless of that, um, it's all about control. If they can keep your mind controlled and, do the right thing, be a good little boy and girl, then everything will be fine. They don't want you to think outside the box. They would just want the people that are just obedient workers, go to work, come home, sit down, eat, watch sitcoms, and then go to bed, repeat. They don't want anybody critically thinking people. They don't want that. Yeah, you're right about that, Mort. Our military will shoot them, and that's basically what it comes down to. They're not gonna take the chance. I like that circumference you put on there. I'm definitely going there to sell snacks for $6, a bag, and packs of cigarettes for $10. You'll see me in a black van. May not be a bad idea if people are going to go there. You can make a killing there, right? Till next time, Chris, and great people. If you're taking off more, have yourself a good one, man. Good seeing you in there. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me there, Michael. That happens from time to time. You won't get these links that won't come through for some reason, whatever. John, you put on the I have to upgrade to a better computer because I am very interested in discovering the road on Mars. I haven't seen anything yet about just roads, but I see them in your videos. Yeah, I mean, there's some crazy things in these things, and a lot of times, I've seen, some of my subs would say, "Hey, man, you didn't see that thing in the background," and it'd be more than one of you, so it's not just one of them just pulling it out of their hat, right? I mean, they're literally seeing these things. Um, but that's what I like about the community, man. It's about seeing these things, and I'll bring out the most obvious things first, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you guys, man, you don't even see that. Literally, I'm going. I guess I didn't. Must have overlooked it because again, sometimes you focus on a certain part of these videos or photos rather, and then some other people see the more obvious stuff that they're focusing on. So together, you get together, and everybody gets to see these things, and there you go. It benefits the people. That's what it's all about. They'll let you think what you want to think as long as you don't make waves. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. If you start questioning right off the bat, boom, they're on you. P&K Space Imaging. I appreciate it, man. I do appreciate it big time. Support your YouTube channels you enjoy. Thanks for the hard work. Cheers, Chris. Well, cheers right back at you, man. Appreciate you. And here's the thing, man. Like I said, I mean, I love it because I'm sorry they didn't, the other person, you know who I'm talking about, didn't actually appreciate your channel. Instead, they kind of jumped you just because I mentioned that you're doing great quality work. And so, yeah. So, you guys could check out P&K Space Imaging. They do some really good work there. Good quality. What's the biggest telescope you guys have there? Is it like 11 or 12 inches? I think it is. Whatever it is, man, you guys are doing phenomenal work. Really good quality. I was actually told that about one person. It was a while back. They said, "Oh man, you got to check out this channel." I checked them out. I was like, "Damn." Um, they're really doing some good work there. So props to you guys. Mr. Wayne, you put on there. I don't think that they would shoot them, but security is so tight, you'll never get anywhere near anything interesting. Well, like I said, I mean, you always see these people like, was it Jesse Ventura when he went down there with a couple of guys, and you always see that white pickup truck come flying up. That and one of the local policemen will come up and they're all over you. I mean, they're just like, "What are you doing here? What do you need?" So you can imagine, just picture like a whole bunch of people showing up there. You know that people are going to be there with tanks, and they're just going to say, "Guys, we're going to forewarn you. You know, you make a move, we're going to have to shoot you." Now they may not shoot to kill, but they're definitely going to they're definitely going to just they're definitely going to maim you. You're going to think twice about wanting to go in there. I'm not sure they're New York 13. What do you think the New Horizons will go next? It left Ultima Thule. Again, that's another one. And look at the way that thing's shaped, and look at 67p. It's funny, huh? Yeah, just weird how these things happen to be all pretty much the same shape almost, or just weird looking shapes and stuff, and they just happen to be going after these certain rocks. Really weird how they're doing that. So yeah, um, Shep, you're right about that. Paul and Keith are awesome. Sub up, so relaxing. Yeah, check the channel out, guys. If you want, you can drop a link here. I know I've got it here somewhere as well because I am sub to them guys. You want to see good quality moon work? That's where you hit. That's where you hit. Like I said, he can Disclosure TV, P&K just subbed. That's what he just said. Um, Let me see. The Area 51 storm will give them a chance to test some new weapons. Yeah, they would need to watch out. Like I said, I'm not sure exactly what that thing was called, but I know they had um, that one that looked like a big satellite dish on the back of the Humvee, and it literally will toast you from the inside out. Your water molecules, they heat them up. So yeah. P&K Space Imaging, he said, we do believe in aliens and spacecraft, but we choose to do it through scientific means. We get hate for that, but it will make it all better if we do catch something awesome. And that's true. I mean, that's what it's all about. Get the best clarity you can get. If you see something there, boom, there you go. It proves all. There it is. Charge, charge. Like I said, I don't know if I'd want to do that. Yeah, exactly, Brian. I'm the same way. I'm thinking the same way you are. They ain't gonna shoot anyone. They aren't stupid. A bunch of kids and crazy adults. Tear gas only, I'm sure, and that's true. I mean, because it's widely dispersed and stuff like that, and get them to think twice before they. But I'm sure if there was a couple of persistent ones, they're definitely going down hard. Well, let me see here. I'm just gonna go ahead and do this real quick. All right, here you go, guys. Here is the link to P&K Space Imaging page. You guys can check them out. There you go. Like I said, they got some good stuff. I mean, everything from different planets, not just the moon. Good stuff, man. And a lot of you guys, I can see you guys have already subbed to them anyway. So there you go. Do the aliens want the disclosure? Is the only question. Um, I think if they look at it this way, if we're ready, I guess they'd want that for us. But at this point, they're probably going, wouldn't just no, just no. Yes, you're right, and I want to see it on video. Yep, and the the Rendlesham rather forest incident. Yeah, I mean, again, this happened on a base. What was it? Two soldiers, I think, next to a military base, and they seen this thing, and I guess one of them touched it and everything else. Seen these crazy characters, type things on the side of it, and emblems, well, not emblems, but what do you call it? And did different writings, so on and so forth. Pretty cool stuff. Well, you know what? I believe in supporting channels there, P&K. You know what I mean? I know you said no need to do that, Chris, but thank you. I'm just here enjoying the live stream like the rest. But you know what? Like I said, I support channels that are good channels. That's just the way I roll. Let me see. It could very well be, Chef Soldier. You said on there, I absolutely believe that was real, and it could very well be because you got to remember if it goes back to, and I think was that supposed to take place in the '70s? That video of Mars that they went to Mars, I think it was in the '70s. So if that's true and it's low quality garbage, meaning the video itself, then maybe that is absolutely true, right? Oh yeah, I believe you're right there, Zappa 750. You put on there. I think disclosure has momentum at the moment. We should push at every opportunity. Even the silly comment is counted somehow. Yeah, I mean, it's like I know a lot of people have said, "Listen, I've asked NASA, hey, disprove this photo, do this, do that," and of course they probably get bombarded by people uh, sending these things to them, right? But what they do is they come out with, it's just your pareidolia. That's what they do. Yeah, it's swamp gas. There you go. Kenneth Brock, you put on there, Chris. Great job on the last video. It looks even better on my tablet and magnifying glass. A lot of good stuff there. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying because a lot of people say, listen, I don't have a computer, I don't have my own PC, but I watched on my tablet or on my phone. And here's the thing: because the screens are smaller and they're high definition to begin with, it's definitely a lot clearer than a computer monitor. Because I mean, unless you're running 4K or whatever monitor. I mean, mine's in, HD, full HD, and I got one that's 4K. So yeah, they're pretty pristine. They're pretty clear. But sometimes, if the larger it is, sometimes it's not as clear. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I actually like watching stuff on my tablet. You can see things clearer. It just looks a lot better. Rendlesham Forest incident. Chris, watch Jimmy Roberts' latest video. It's an eye opener. Yeah, did he just put that out? I think he was talking about doing that. Brian Norton, I like that. When you guys crap if aliens started walking out of the Area 51 holding a bear saying, "Finally, you guys came." Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Of course, it depends on what they look like. Half the people probably crap themselves. John Devon, you put on the. I know you don't do people on Mars, but the one pic of the lady standing up wearing a dress, nobody has said anything about the objects under the platform rock. Oh, I know. That's the one that shows her. She's on there. She's looking to the left, I believe. It's hard to, it kind of looks like a silhouette of, like you said, a woman with a dress on. Now, I'm not so sure that's what it is. But it does actually have an uncanny kind of look-alike, right? So it is kind of weird. I just don't have, I don't know. I guess I just don't have the eye for what looks like people on there. I'm not saying there isn't, but you just don't know. You really don't. Was a video on the moon and I filmed it on 22.6 and I believe I captured a lunar wave. Would you take a look and let me know if it is or not? Would love your opinion. That's what Phil Cox was saying to you, P and K. You want to check out his comment? Randy Roberts, Chris, what do you think about the lunar wave? What do you think the lunar wave is? It's so bizarre. I don't know. I'll be truthful with you. I mean, I remember when Crow 777 did this, and where he had the wave and stuff like that. And there was another guy, and I don't recall his name, that he literally lives next to an airport, and that's all he takes photos of. So he put on there the lunar wave, and funny enough, the weird thing about it, Crow lived next to an airport. And when you see these crafts, these airplanes take off from the tarmac and they come up, you can see that the engine exhaust literally will give that rippling effect on the moon. Now, you've never seen a plane in Crow's video, so I'm not saying he is right. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying it's just too coincidental how you can see this plane do that. It looks almost identical to the very T of what he was showing. Now, is it possible he did find that? That's a good possibility. Now, I'm saying I don't believe it. I think it was jet wash. I think that's exactly what it is. He just because he didn't have it like. The only thing I stumbled on was that when I'm looking at this, I'm going, okay, I see it. It's only like, let's say it's 11, 15 seconds. You never see long before the wave and you don't see long after. Why doesn't he play it long before the wave? But he doesn't do that. He cuts it. He actually, edits it and puts it just before the wave happens. Well, how do we know a jet didn't fly by and he's go ahead and he did that? I don't know. See, first of all, he did the lunar wave. Then all of a sudden, the moon was fake. So I'm like, where was he going with that? Just crazy stuff. I mean, I actually was. I think I am still sub to Crow because he is actually doing some good stuff. Then he started doing these blogs and some other kind of way off stuff that I wasn't interested in. So I didn't really go continue on watching him. I think I'm still sub to him, but like I said, I haven't watched him in a long time. There's Waffles, evening, Chris, and everyone. I made it home, and I still, and the stream's still going. Muggy night in here in Pennsylvania. Yuck. Oh, I feel you, man. It's just now cooling down here. It's about 76 degrees here. It got up to about 90, I think it was, or 93. So it was pretty smoking hot here too. It wasn't super hot, but it was hot enough. Okay, I see what you're saying. Our horror you put on there. I think Jimmy Roberts' new video that's been put out is saying that it was not a UFO, it was a nuclear accident. That's what they were insinuating. That's a possibility. I mean, I haven't seen it. I'll have to check it out because everybody's got their theories. if you do your homework and you try to back it up with a little something something, and then then you can actually say, okay, well, it makes more sense. I haven't seen it yet. I'll have to check him out because I do watch his stuff. He's good. He's got some good stuff there. Oh, Renee, you put on there, have another 2 weeks vacation. This is my second week, so can see until the end. We have achieved a temperature record here in the Netherlands. Some places, wow, that is pretty hot. 40.2 degrees, 3 days in a row, and it is not normal. It is, a row. It is now normal. Um, yeah, that's crazy, man. That's hot. There's a lot of areas that have been getting hit with a lot of hot temperatures, man. They're like, this ain't normal at all. Trigger Happy J. Forget about all the stuff about aliens and Area 51, all this dumb stuff. What we really have to worry about is AI robots taking over the world and doing mind control, and Bigfoot kidnapping us. That's the real threat. I don't know about the Bigfoot thing, but I mean, as far as like AI, you know, I think they're more wiser than that. I think they're going to put in some safety controls, if you know what I mean. That they won't let that happen like in Terminator and stuff like that. I don't think you're going to see that. Um, because they're going to try to maintain full control of that. But it's hard to say, right? Yeah, Bronx repping New York. Mr. Wayne, it's time for me to go, Chris. Thanks for the great show. Well, thank you, Mr. Wayne, for being here. I do appreciate you, man. Yeah, Brian, yeah, you're right. UFOs are showing off when they shut nukes down. Yeah, I mean they definitely got the power to do it. Apparently, like I said, I wasn't there. I didn't see it all, but when they actually talk about it, and some of these people from the military base are saying, "Well, look at these damn things, man. Everything's good. Everything's online. Everything's working fine." All of a sudden, boom, everything shuts down. So is it just nothing more than a power outage, or was there something there? And there are some photos that showed like these UFOs off in the back, right off of these military complexes. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Let me see. I missed so much. Yeah, yeah, you did miss a little bit because we're going to be signing off pretty soon there, Waffles. We'll rewind when it's done and catch up. Yeah, yeah, check it out, man. Good stuff here. A lot of good conversation. These guys are awesome. Supposed, and then Brian put on there, supposed to be a crap load of Bigfoots in West Virginia, Chris. Ever see one? No. I have some rather big people here, but no, I haven't seen any of those. And we got a lot of woods here, man. A lot of mountains, a lot of woods, stuff like that. I like hiking and stuff like that, and doing some hunting with some of the guys sometimes. It's pretty cool. But I haven't seen one of those yet. A lot of other animals in there, but yeah, I know you were just kidding. Trigger Happy Jay. I know. Studious realism. Global warning. Trying to heal itself. That could be a very good possibility. A lot of people don't believe in that global warming stuff. I personally believe we're not the sole reason for it, because the actual solar system's heating up itself. Even which I didn't know this, but there was a couple years ago they I think it was NASA or JPL announced this where they said, um, oh, is I'm trying to remember if they said it was Mars that was coming out of coming out of an ice age. I went, never heard there was one. It was in one. So that's pretty interesting. This is the reason why we may be seeing a lot more water and stuff like that on Mars too. All of a sudden, at least that's what they're conveying. So now, yeah, but it's pretty cool how they said that. Chris Morgana made videos. Well, if they come out with more photos, I'd love to be able to do more of those because I think every time you look around, there's something on another planet, another moon. There's always good stuff, man. It's just you're just starting to see more and more of this now. Some of it's always maybe very little stuff on the photos, but then there's stuff that's got there's photos that got tons of crap in them, and I think it all has to do with um, how much manipulation was done, how much they tried to hide what's there. And some people probably did, some of these guys are probably thinking, they're not going to look at Ganymede. It's just crap. People are more interested in the moon and, uh, Mars, things like that, because what are they concentrating most on? At least what they're telling the public, right? Well, Mars and the moon. So they won't think nothing of the other ones. Jay Lewis, good evening, Chris. Good evening to you, Jay. Aliens created humanity. Very good possibility. Had a good time. See you all next week. Take care, Chris. Cheers. Well, cheers right back at you, man. Good seeing you in there. Yeah, Trigger Happy Jay. Yeah. Thanks again for telling me about an Olympus Sky guy, that he's actually alive and doing well. I always had that in the back of my mind, back of my head, that maybe he did expose them and something happened. Well, like I said, last time I knew he was going into politics and stuff like that in his own country, which is great. I mean, if he can do it and everything works out for him, all the power to him, right? But that's the last time I heard of him. I know he kind of was doing these for a while, and then he just kind of jumped off. We've done a couple of collabs with him, and as well as another friend of mine, Santos. We were doing those, so good stuff. Oh yeah, absolutely, Richard. You're right. And don't forget that the solar system rises and dips in a galactic ecliptic rather. Heating could be tied to that. Worth looking at various possible causes. Oh, absolutely. Like I said, at every 11 years we have, the sun cycle gets, it really comes up. And it's really, just heats up the solar system. And anybody who's into radio knows that, because every 11-year cycle, you get Skip. You can talk all over the world with it. And I was one of those, love to do that a lot. Like I said, I was running about 1,000 watts PEP out of my house, which is peak envelope power. But I enjoyed that, talking Skip all over the world. And especially every 11 years, it gets psychotic, man. It's hard to even talking, 11-meter band and all this other stuff. It's just crazy. So, yeah. Lester Addison, rather. Why don't we see water on Mars when it's above 60 degrees? Well, the thing is, there probably is, but they're just not showing it in the picture, right? Because there's plenty of it. There's plenty of it below the soil, and now they're saying, because again, I pointed this out. When you have these polar caps melt, where's the water going? And then it returns back in the colder months, just like here on Earth. So what's it telling you? Okay, so it pretty much has the same kind of seasons. And if you look this up, it's the truth. It has a lot of the seasons are just like here on Earth. So wouldn't that surprise me? Where there's water, there's life. And now, even if it's down to microbial, it doesn't matter. There's still life on that planet, one way or the other. And the guy was basically saying here, and I couldn't put the link; it was just too darn long. But like I said, I'll drop the links down in the comment section here. Probably tomorrow, I'll put them on there so you guys can check them out. But I mean, he's basically saying that where there's water, there's life. So, and like I said, I mean, there's so much water on that planet now. There's just starting to discover more of it. There's in the North Pole, it's just below the North Pole, and I think it was. I'm trying to remember if it was just the way they had the picture, set up. It was like just to the east of that area they were talking about, and it was like a 1 mile swath of water underneath, but it was only like a small cavern. It wasn't very deep, and they said in order for this radar imaging to take place, it has to be at least 12 inches deep. In other words, the water itself, right, has to be at least 12 inches deep for this thing to even recognize it. So it did. And it was like a mile like wide inside this cavern. So there's plenty of water on the planet. Come on, guys. And not to mention the methane, or methane, as my friends in the UK like to call it. You literally have this huge explosion of methane in the warmest months. I mean, we kind of have the same thing here on Earth, guys. No different. Trigger Happy, hey, drop a like. It's free. If you're not subbed, feel free to sub. It's also free. All right. All right. Shep Soldier, yeah. Okay, I'm having a really hard time seeing. I may have to go to the emergency room. Well, hope everything's okay for you, man. Bad eye day. Thanks, Chris. Was a good stream, my friend. See you in the next one, hopefully. Cheers, everyone. Well, hope everything's cool with you, man. Everything works out for you there, and your eyesight gets better. And good having you in there, man. Brian Moon, by the way, props on not mentioning you know who in direct from Form Chris. And unfortunately, I had to in the beginning there because basically he was still on the attack, so to speak. So um, I mentioned him a little bit, but that's going to stop anyway. Like I said, some of you guys had asked me. You said, "Hey, um, did that other party get your video taken off?" I'm thinking, what are they talking about? The one I had my response to the other person. No, I took that down. I took that down myself because I felt I already said my piece, so it's done. So I took it down. Um, Lester Addison, you put on there. Thanks for your input. Seem like grass, weeds, or something would grow, or does, and they won't let us know or see. Absolutely, I think the same thing. Um, yeah, we'll check it out there. Studious Realism. Time to go. Hope you see my video by. Yeah, definitely check it out. Marcus Allen, you put on there, Chris. Why don't or why doesn't NASA take videos of Mars? I believe they have. They just haven't showed us. Because think about that, they're capable of doing it. The rovers are perfectly capable of it. So isn't the MRO, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. With the high-rise camera, what they call it. Literally, if you're anywhere between 5'8" and 6 foot, you can get in a fetal position. Excuse me, hit the mic. You can get in a fetal position and literally fit into this camera. That's how big it is on this orbiter. You can look it up, the high-rise camera, and you can see the size of this thing, and you can see like a couple of these technicians working right next to it. It's pretty large. It's pretty damn big, and they can see it down to a 4 foot swath on the surface of Mars. Yet you never see that either, do you? There you go. So, they can do so much more than they're showing us, and I think they've seen everything they possibly could, and they knew exactly where to drop these rovers, and that's where they were dropped and why they were dropped there because they knew exactly where they were going. Yeah, Lucky Mo, you're right. NASA shows a video of dust devils on Mars. Yeah, there's actually one of them I seen that had three of them. There was actually three of them kind of going across the Martian landscape. So it is pretty cool. Um, you know, excuse me. I think a lot of these things, I think the storms. I don't think the weather's as bad as they say it is. Although it wouldn't surprise me if you have these weird swings in temperatures, right? Because if you had that kind of weird weather here, like so much it's so hot during the day and then super cold during the day. These storms must be brewing in the evening times or at night. They have to be. You would think so anyway. But of course, that depends on pressure and all this other stuff in the weather. So yeah. WTF is that evening, Chris? Hope you're good, man. I just got on. Gonna have to rewatch. I think. Yeah, guys, because I'm ready to jump off here myself. It's actually on there 2.5, almost what is it? 2 hours and 38 minutes. This is what I'm saying, man. I love this, man. I didn't even realize that kind of time went by, man. This is awesome. I love you guys when you guys are in there, jumping in there and going back and forth, conversing with each other and myself. Again, it's all a learning curve. Um, okay, dude with a laptop, aka Richard Radovic. You put on the, anyone want to see some UFOs flying under the ISS after this live stream? Be sure to have a look at the footage on my channel. Drop a link, and I'll go ahead and share that direct to that video, and so they can go check it out. Grind Alchemy. I'm not sure I've seen you yet. This is the first time. Guess you're ignoring me. Cool. It was just a. I'm not sure. I haven't seen you, to be truthful with you. It's the first time I'm seeing you in there. Maybe there's one up here. Let me check. Because, like I said, every time somebody will comment, I'll literally try to move down the little bar on the side there, and poof, the thing will just jump up on me. Let me see. Maybe you're in there. Let me see. Oh, here you are. How do we actually know we can travel to the moon? I'm wondering if it's all mind control. Any thoughts? Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of speculation about we haven't gone to the moon, we haven't, um, stuff like that, but we have. I mean, like I said, we've gone, we've been there. There's a reason why we went, and like I said, it's between. Like I said, I think it's just stuff that they've seen up there that's not ours, and uh, so I believe one, we did go to the moon since Apollo 11 to 17. We went up there for more than just rocks. Because think about it. If you went up there to collect rocks, okay, you collect the rocks and you come back to Earth. Oh, by the way, look at these rocks. That's the end of it. Why do you need to keep going up there getting the same rocks? I mean, don't get me wrong, they're in different areas, but it doesn't make any sense. They were up there because the stuff we've been seeing in these photos show what look like structures. These kind of weird crafts looks like they crashed there, all kinds of crazy things. And I think that's what they're there for. They were up there looking at this technology, might have taken 1.5 million photos. I mean, how much does a photo take? Like a small, roll of film, right? And then they probably picked these things apart, took pictures, and then came back with that. And then they just took the rocks back for like a, PR move. That's what I think that was all about. But yeah, I absolutely believe they went. Brian, appreciate that. Much love from football one off weekend, Chris. Love Sunday night chat. Appreciate what you do. Well, I appreciate you guys being here and chatting it up with me, man. Douglas Gardner, yeah, I enjoy your show and Hangout. 2 thumbs up. I'm subscribed and bell thingy your show. I appreciate that, man. Like I said, for some reason, some people are not getting that. They're not getting the actual, they'll hit that little bell, which is basically to get notifications, and somehow they're not getting it. But it's I just why I just tell people to check back. It's best way because I do that to some channels too. For some reason, I don't get any notifications, but I'll go on there. Funny enough, there's a video sitting right there. So Grind Alchemy TV1, true, but what about the firmament or Van Allen radiation belt? Well, like I said, we've talked about this before. I know people want to believe that we live under this firmament, this dome. The firmament is nothing more than the sky. If you go back to in the Bible and stuff like that, they just talk about the firmament meaning the sky above us. As far as the Van Allen radiation belts, most people don't realize there's actually a third radiation belt. There's two, 90% of the time. But depending on the sun's um, activity, you'll get a third one. But funny enough, they're mostly clear in both the north and south poles. This is the reason why when you see rockets go up, they don't go straight up. If you ever noticed that, they literally curve. They go off to a curve to a different direction. What they'll do is they'll come out, slingshot around the Earth a couple of times, and slingshot either to Mars, the moon, or wherever. They can and they're not solid either. They weaken, they get strong, they weaken. Again, it depends on the sun's activity. So they know that, and they can go right through that stuff. And keep in mind, they're not there for hours and hours on end, right? They're just going right through the actual radiation belts if they do go through it. And if it is, it's not a whole lot of it, so they go through it and get done with it. So it's not going to hinder them nor stop them. They know exactly what these things are. In fact, I don't remember the name of the crafts. In fact, it was it Van Allen, I think his name was, that actually came up with that Van Allen belts, radiation belts. And there was 2 crafts that actually mapped out where these things, the radiation belts were mostly around these magnetic, I think it's a magnetic fields or, basically magnetic fields around the Earth and stuff like that. And of course, the sun has a lot to play on it. So, they've been through it. They can go through it. You can read up on it. A lot of times, there's actually, depending again on the sun's activity, you'll have 3 Van Allen belts. So they know that. They're aware of all of these. Waffle's right. Why do we stop going? What makes us feel we're ready now? Well, see, that's a great question too, Waffles, because here's the thing. I think they've gotten all the information they needed. And of course, they said something about lack of funding. I find that hard to believe because basically they just steal from the reserve anyway, just take the money they need now. They don't need to ask the public for anything, although they do ask Congress because they still have to get the regular funding. And then, of course, there's I call it the black ops kind of thing in the background where there's real work going on, so to speak, right? So I think that's the case. And, the way I look at it, it's I think they're ready to go back now because maybe they got new plans to do different things. And if you notice how there's like India's picking a different area, they're going to South Pole. We'll go back and it won't be the same exact areas. It'll be a little bit different. So I think there's different reasons why they're going, or different areas for certain different reasons. I don't know. So John Lear is wrong, I guess. Exactly what do you mean? What part was that? Cop 566. I mean, keep in mind, everybody's got their own theories, right? So, anybody could be right. And, a lot of it's pure speculation and some of it's not. So it depends on how you look at it and, what his research brought him and how he thinks of it. You know what I mean? You got to think of it that way too. Because a lot of people, I could do some certain amount of research. You may do it and you might come up with something totally different or close, but still different. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but what was he stating though? I know what you mean by the Van Allen belts itself, but I guess he said they didn't go. We didn't go through it. Yeah, we can absolutely go through it. Like I said, you can check up on it. Read up on the Van Allen belts themselves, and you'll see what I'm talking about. No, I didn't see that SC because I heard about it. I didn't watch it. Um, I'd like to check it out. I haven't seen it yet, but I'll have to check it out. I heard about that more than once, and I don't know if she was just trying to make him look like a jerk on there, or what was the whole reason behind that? Um, I don't know if he was just, lashing out at her for whatever reason. I don't know, but yeah, I got to see that myself. Yeah, I'm the same way there, Phil. You said 2:44 a.m. here. Time for shut eye. Me, thanks. Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for stopping in. So cheers to you, man. Good to see you in here. I love the fact that you guys are here, Renee. So I appreciate that. Yeah, you've asked this question. Did you put on there? Do you believe in reincarnation? The Buddha, the first one, was able to recall his past lives in different people. I actually believe that a little bit. To be truthful with you, I'm trying to remember what they called it. Shambhala. If you read upon the Buddha and the monks and stuff like that, they talked about Shambhala, which is basically almost like their heaven kind of thing. But of course, it is different. Um, so I think, of course, it was a mystical place, of course. Um, but to me, yeah, I do believe that because I've heard stories about how people would say, "Oh my God, I was in, I could tell you about a whole city and they never lived there. It's on the other side of the world, and yet they could tell you about the whole thing." So, well, this person's never been there, never read any books about it, but yet it's as real as can be that they've been there. They can tell you that the certain shops that were on a certain street, where they lived and everything else. And it's weird how that comes out. So I do actually believe in reincarnation. I think that's a very good possibility. And I think that it is real. Lester Addison, how do we know that they didn't pick a desert to show us the pics? Now, are you talking about Moon or are you talking about Mars or either? I think you're talking about Mars. Yes, John Devon. Yeah, if you don't get notifications, just go to subscription and click on Mars anomalies. Yeah, remote viewers that don't know that they are remote viewers. Yeah, pretty much. I'm not sure. That's a good question, Lucky Mole. You said chain of curiosity, custody, rather. I'm sorry. How many hands does the Curiosity rover's data pass through before it gets to J? That's a great question. I wish I knew the answer to that. You know, um, because you can almost bet it's highly encrypted. It's and only the highest people get to see this stuff, and so it's really crazy. I don't know because can you imagine if you're there to see this information come down? Because like I said, it gets literally uploaded from or uplinked from the Curiosity rover, or at the time the Opportunity as well, to the orbiters, and then once the orbiters actually are aligned with Earth, they'll send the information back. Why? Obviously, it's not on the other side of Mars, so it makes it easy to send it. And it is closer to Earth. So can you imagine sitting there watching this stuff come down, the information? And I think it might actually have an algorithm right on the Curiosity rover that actually encrypts these photos. So even if you were to intercept them, you'd just be gobbledygook. But the actual coming into the computer at NASA or wherever it gets, downlinked to, is that it literally, decrypts it. And next, you see the full image and everything else. And I can't even imagine the stuff they're seeing. Angel Prats, hello from Florida. Watch your work every night. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you. I really do. Zappa 750, you put on the Russians have great pics of lunar pyramids. I actually got one of those coming up too. I got one of the older moon photos I've done a while back, but I'm going to show you guys this again, which this is pretty cool. You guys are going to see some stuff. And even way back in the day, back in 60s and 70s, they showed structures. So you guys will see that coming up too. Anyway, guys, I'm going to jump on out of here. It's only been about 2 hours and 50 minutes, 10 minutes short of 3 hours. But that's what I'm saying. I didn't even realize it. So, I mean, it's just awesome that you guys are here and we get to converse like this and with each other. So, you guys keep up the good work and keep asking questions, guys. Do your own research. You don't have to believe a thing I say. I always tell these to people, do your own research, come up to your own conclusions. And that's what that's really about, man. It really is. And together, again, learning curve. We all get to learn this. Anyway, guys, thanks for being here, man. I really do appreciate it. You guys all have yourselves a great night and have yourself a great week coming up. Anyway, guys, peace. We'll catch you on the flip side.